Maxie. Lumberjack Max.
Yep, we're here.
I actually bought myself a nice wool hat too because it's supposed to be cold. Oh, it's cold all weekend. I am in Portugal. I am in this little tiny hotel. If there was a hotel that was going to be haunted, it would be this hotel because it reminds me what if I was to ever think it was a haunted hotel, it would be this. It's actually very tiny. I'm like squeezed into this little desk right here. So I do apologize, everybody. I don't have my quality studio time here, but you know what? A lot of things have been going on in the RC industry. We have to talk about it. So we're gonna record. We're trying to do this in like an hour and a half. I think your girlfriend's gonna time us. If we can get done before that, we'll be good because we have a lot to talk about. But we're gonna talk about that. So you know what? Enough jibber jabbering. Let's just find that intro and let's get cracking. What do you say, Max?
Yeah, man.
Nitro is the glory, but EBuggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this grabbing racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right. You know?
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about it.
Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no! I like this.
Yes, indeed. Nitro is the glory, but EBuggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 279 of the No Name RC podcast. I'm your host, Keenan White, aka Lefty Great. To my virtual left, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend in his own mind, professor of everything, Maximus Mortimus, the pisser off of nations. What's up, Max?
I'm good. Been like extremely busy, so kind of a good gap to have no podcast last week between us.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we did drop a podcast with JQ, which you have something to say about. But before we do that, I just have to say thank you to everybody, the NNRC squad around the world. We can't do this without you guys. Thank you all for the support. A big thank you to all of the patrons and the YouTube members of the NNRC. You guys got some hot gossip early this week. I think that's what we're going to do. RCTMZ on the Patreon and YouTube membership. Thank you guys for all the support. If you wish to become a patron or a YouTube member, links for that in the written description of this podcast. Also, a big shout out to these companies. Without their support, none of this is possible. If you guys want to support the podcast a little bit further, you can by going to these companies. We have links in the written description for affiliate links, coupon codes, and some are just links that you just have to say, hey, we heard about you in a No Name RC podcast. They are Invisible Speed, High Tech RC, Corsatec USA, Sidewinder Fuel, Mayako, Beach RC, Techno RC, Clinic RC, Stacked RC, RaceCraft USA, RC Box Club, Car RC, Elite RC Productions, Florida RC Championships, RC Body Armor, SJ Racing, Builds, House of RC, RCGP. Shout out to our drivers, David Ronafalk, Robert Battier, Alexander Hadberg, Matty G, Pecco Ivanen, Una Hutton, and Mason Fuller. Good luck to Fuller and Viking, who are going to PNB this weekend. Good luck to them. Good luck to them. So thank you guys for all the support. Remember, links for all of those companies in the written description of the podcast. We greatly appreciate support. Greatly appreciate the NNRC patron support as well. It helps keep these bills paid. Max, I have to say a big shout out first off the bat. Just before we recorded this, finally, the No Name RC podcast Instagram hit 10,000 followers all organically. No buying. No, I know. Hey, so a big thank you to all the supporters out there. It's been a grind. I kind of lost the original No Name RC podcast. I got hacked back in May of 2022, June of 2022. And I lost my Facebook and I lost my original Facebook. I had 5,000 friends, lots of pictures and memories and all that stuff. Tip to everybody, 2-step verification is your friend. I then lost the NNRC Instagram as well. And I had about 3,500 followers. Almost 4,000. I think it might have been 4,000 at that time. So I was very discouraged when that happened. And I said, you know what? My goal is going to be to get to 10,000 followers on Instagram. And it just happened. And it's still going. And you know what that came from? Reels and TikTok. Reels and TikTok. So I'm very happy. Oh, excuse me, trying to get comfortable. Thank you to everybody. And I'll continue doing the Reels. Continue doing it. I like it. It's awesome. And you know what, Max? We are at this very moment, we are 15 subs away from 5,000 subs on YouTube. So still trying to reach that milestone. It'll be great to reach that milestone after this podcast. So please, if you haven't already, if you're listening to this on the audio only platform, go over, hit that sub button, share. We only need 15 more. Obviously, I would like to have more than that. But let's get to 5,000. I think once you get to these milestones, things just start kind of unfolding for you. So it's like, you start getting on the algorithm and all that type of stuff. And we still have about 300 more to go on Facebook to reach 10K followers. And of course, also on the TikTok, we're looking to get to 20,000. But to be honest, I kind of took a break for a while putting up content on there, but I have so much old video from all over my trips over the last years. I'm just kind of putting that up as we go. And I really think that the Reels and all that stuff is what's going to catch people's eye about RC, because it's quick, it's fast. That's what everybody wants nowadays. I'm happy about that, Max. I'm happy about that. Super happy about that. So thank you to everybody that does that. We greatly appreciate it. And no more jabbering about this stuff. We have a lot to talk about. And our first segment, Invisible Speed, they got a new 3-month course. Go check them out. As JQ says, stop scrolling.
Stop scrolling. You want to be Lewis Hamilton? Learn something new with Invisible Speed. You can't do everything at 100% maximum speed. You have to be smooth. I mean, when you drive a real car, if you drive a real car, how do you just, when you get to a 90-degree corner to turn into the parking lot, do you go like that with the steering wheel? Do you like slam on the throttle and the brake? No. You probably turn the wheel smooth and get on the throttle smooth. Same thing with an RC car. If you want to learn more and make your speed visible, stop scrolling.
Stop scrolling. You want to be Lewis Hamilton? He has a 3-month course now. We have links for all of that, affiliate links in the written description of this podcast. Help us out, people. Go check it out. It is helping you out because a lot of people are loving Invisible Speed. The new book is pretty awesome. It's popular. And, JQ, he's done something good here. Done something very good. All righty, Max. So, obviously, we're going to a little quick talk about, I am in Portugal right now. Obviously, I've been on the road now for almost 3 weeks. 2 weeks in the USA. Been in Portugal here. Currently in Barcelos, as I'm speaking about now, in Barcelinos, which is the other side of the river, as it's called, not too far away from the Figueiredo's family home. Actually, supposed to meet up with them tonight for dinner. And tomorrow, I head with them to Guarda for the IFMAR EBuggy World Cup, which we'll talk about more. It's been a fun time here in Portugal. Unfortunately, we didn't get to race much or at all, barely, because of the weather. But I did have a good time. I shared a room with Kimo RC, who came over. He works in Bermuda, but lives in the Azores, so he came over. We had a blast. I'm glad we did. We went all over Portugal, just driving around, sightseeing. Saturday after the race was canceled. So it was fun. I got to meet David Bauman, and in the basement he was here. Adam Reevy and his son Alex and his dad were here. So we went out to dinner quite a lot. Went out to dinner with the Killix as well. Got to hang out with them a little bit. It was a good time, meeting new people at the track that I didn't meet before, that I haven't met before, who do follow the podcast. So it was great. I'm having a blast. I'm looking forward tomorrow. I believe James comes tomorrow from RC Racing TV, and we go over to do the coverage for the World Cup in conjunction of the RC Racing TV and the Federation the Portuguese Federation. So good times. We'll talk more about the IBC in our RC news. And look at this, Max. You have a full-time job, because I messaged you today about trying to get you to the Worlds to do NNRC content in September. And you said, I got to see if I can get the time off. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so as I've expressed many times, I'm studying mechanical engineering, and I will graduate as a bachelor now in a month or so. So I'll have summer job before continuing to masters next fall. So I'll be working at it's like a factory that does I don't know what the wording is in English, but basically it's recycling shit. So it's not a very fancy job, but I'm kind of in charge of the whole factory. So
it's not glamorous.
It's not very glamorous because it's kind of smells bad, because you're literally doing like shit and bio waste and turning it into, I don't know what it's called in English, the shit that plants grow on. You know?
Oh, you're making fertilizer?
Yeah. No. Compost. Yeah. But I'm like, kind of in charge of the whole factory thing. So.
Yeah, like the sod and shit like that. Yeah. Got you.
Yeah.
All right.
I need to make sure the processes actually work, and then call someone to fix it if it doesn't.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope you can get time off to come to the Worlds, because we have some plans for that. That's another topic that we're going to talk about here shortly. This, like I said, we are meaning this to be a pretty short podcast. So let's get on. Max, you messaged me. We did put on show 278 last week with JQ. I called him Salty JQ or Jaded JQ.
He was very salty,
he was, but people seem to like it. Actually, the episode that we did together previously has been very popular on both Podbean, both on audio only, as well as YouTube. So if you want to go check that out, I also made a quick clip as well. If you want to see the breakdown between Boots and Ronafalk from DNC, that's on YouTube as well. In fact, I'll leave a link for that right there. So I guess do you want me to bring up the video? Do you have it at this time?
Yeah. It's timestamped, so you can just bring it up.
Okay. So I'm talking to JQ saying that we need to have a whatchamacallit for you, right?
Intervention.
An intervention, because you're talking about titanium nuts and all this blasphemous heresy like EBuggy and all this type of stuff that just I don't know, man. I don't know what's gotten into you. I know heresy. That's blasphemy. So do you have it at this timestamp? Let me turn up the volume. Hopefully everybody can hear this. He had
recordings just
as I said, it goes to an ad. But it is an ad for StreamYard. That's where we're using StreamYard.
Oh, dang, that's good.
To spread such heresy. Let me go back, because this is then. Let's go back. Max had titanium intervention. Max, hey, I almost called you Max. Oh, so hold on. We have to have an intervention for fucking Max.
What's happening? Has he come out of the closet? Or?
No, he's definitely straight. This fucking Max had titanium nuts as a topic to talk about the other day. He talked about it for 10-15 minutes.
Titanium nuts?
Yes. Trying to gentrify the podcast. Then he had the audacity to spread such heresy as saying that EBuggy is going to be the glory at one point. And I almost kicked him off the podcast. And he said that.
Well, you know that his girlfriend is a vegan feminist.
Well, he's vegan now, too. So...
Yes, but it's all because of the influence that his girlfriend has had on him. So now the obvious conclusion will be that nitro racing is harmful to the environment and we are going all electric.
It's blasphemy. It's blasphemous. It's heresy. But I'm into it. And titanium
nuts. Never going to be like that. I definitely hope.
All right. So there's JQ being JQ. I don't know if I don't think he likes your girlfriend too much.
I think he feels threatened, you know.
Could be. Yes.
Yeah, because my girlfriend is a very she's
very
like
patient.
spicy. She's spicy, but in a like a intelligent spicy, you know. Joseph always goes for those who key your car and throw your shit out the window, you know.
Pretty much, yes.
So, or post his dick on the internet, which
Oh, yes.
happened
You
also.
forgot about that one.
Yeah. So he's not used to, you know, that. But my girlfriend, she's a very, you know, she's very opinionated. I want to say.
Yeah. I forgot all about the dick pic, the infamous dick pic, which he wrote.
But just to clarify for everyone, I was actually vegan for quite a while before we started hanging out together, even as friends.
Okay.
So that's number one. I've been vegan for a while, or at least vegetarian.
Okay.
And number two, he was talking about nitro and EBuggy. And actually,
let me stop you now. Don't say anything that will force my hand in kicking you off the podcast.
Yeah, I'll be good because he kind of made 2 points.
Don't say any blasphemous nitro is not.
No, I won't. Actually, you're gonna probably like what I say. He kind of made 2 points. First one, he tried to attack my character as if I was directed from a force above, which would be my girlfriend in this instance. And then he made an argument about electric and nitro, which is, in many sense, totally wrong. Well, number one thing, there's kind of two things he was wrong about this argument. Number one thing, if you're looking purely from an environmental standpoint, it's very likely that nitro is actually more environmentally friendly than electric, due to the fact that RC cars kind of overuse batteries in a way that their lifespan isn't maximized. Okay, so you use basically too much battery for the power you generate. For nitro, all the fuel we get is pretty much like excess from production. That's why it's so cheap too. It's like excess materials from other.
Well, it's not exactly cheap, but yes,
it's not cheap. But if you would purpose make it, it would be so much more expensive. But almost all of these factories, RC fuel is kind of a side project for them, especially now with the very low nitro content. Obviously, they have some oils they use, especially the high-end fuels, but most of it is quite cheap to make, excess product. And at this point, a large portion of the oils are synthetic anyway. They are not natural oil. So the fuel itself is quite okay because of the fact that it is nitro and so on. It burns quite clean, so you get the smell and that all of it, but you don't have that much oil in it, which would cause any pollution. And to be honest, you have a fucking this size piston, so that pollution would be silly to think. I bet if you look at RC racing in general, the biggest pollution is when people fly to races. But what comes to electric and nitro, EBuggy in its current state with current battery technology is actually probably more polluting due to the fact how much it uses the batteries because of lithium. But here's what I think JQ gets wrong again. It's not a given that battery technology will stay as it is. Right now, because I've studied this subject quite thoroughly at points, there already are batteries that have a theoretical capacity of similar to, gasoline in terms of power to weight, energy to weight ratio. And if these get more popular, these use less of the materials because you have same sort of energy density, so you need less of the material. It's not a given that we would have smaller batteries, maybe at same price or expensive, but smaller in size and more powerful. And at that point, when we would have those, it could be even an argument that the lithium mining and usage is so low that it doesn't matter. And also, like, people always say this about electric cars and such, that, oh, they're so bad because of the mining. Well, oil has to get drilled out too. It's not just what comes out the pipe, it's the drilling too. And overall, if you look at just scientific studies on this, electric cars, if you use them for more than 5 years per car, it saves a lot of pollution. But for RC, if you went purely from an environmental standpoint, I would run nitro all day because I think that's much more environmentally conscious than electric. So fuck you, JQ. Yeah, the reason why I said electric would be number one is because it's so much easier. And when you have, especially in Finland, we can barely get 15, 20 entries in nitro, where we have over 40 in electric. So it's like, if everyone runs electric, then even the top guys are going to start running electric. And then at that point, it will become the glory. That was my argument there.
Okay. Well, I would safely say that Sportsman EBuggy is probably going to be the biggest class at PNB. But you know what? Being as JQ's not here, I'm going to play his rebuttal to you.
Yeah. This is what it's talking with JQ. Yesterday, I asked him about the Chuggy. I asked him 3 questions. He didn't answer to any of those, but he sent me an email, and he sent me a zip file of SolidWorks parts and a written 1 line of text. It says, you have to finish the E version. That's all he said. And I asked multiple questions about it.
Sounds about right. JQ's everything's in his brain. He his autistic brain can't transform what's in his brain to giving it out to people. But when it comes to talking about setup, he'll sit there and talk to you all day about it. But when you ask him a question, he just completely ignores you. So
I've tried everything. I tried numbering the questions, putting a list of him to answer, but before it worked. But I think somehow now that
yesterday he was in a pissy mood because I messaged him and he was like, and then today,
I think now that he's realized that he's autistic, he's kind of using it to his advantage as well.
Probably. You know what? I have this to say to JQ. Brazil. Ooh, we'll talk about Brazil in a minute. All right, Max. You know what? I think this is going to be an ongoing battle between you and JQ. So we'll follow this, and it's going to be tit for tat for sure. All right. Up next is the Hi-Tech RC news. Hi-Tech is coming in strong and in charge in 2024 with the introduction of our new suite of chargers, the RDX 200, the RDX 2800, and the RDX 4. Depending on your charging needs, Hi-Tech has you plugged in with the power, multiple port flexibility, and the ultimate reliability you require. If you want to purchase any of these new chargers, we have links for this in the written description, or you can go to www.hitechrcd/where-to-buy.com. Thank you, Hi-Tech, for all your support. I need to actually email them and say what's up. All right, so let's get to some of the stuff here. The reason I'm here, I'm actually here for the International Buggy Challenge, which I came to last year. It's an excellent race here at the EBuggy Arena, probably one of the best facilities in the world when it comes to RC. Definitely have an exceptional track. It's a glue track. The Figueiredo family and the Portuguese Federation, they put a lot of work into it. And they had it in May last year, but trying to capitalize on Easter holidays and get people here, they decided to put it on Easter. Unfortunately, rain was in the schedule, and it did rain. And I just have to say, before I go any further, a big kudos to the Federation, to the Figueiredo family, to all the helpers. They tried their best to put this on. They had tarps over it. They have put fresh glue. They were out there sweeping. They tried to run the race in the rain. We did run the race in the rain a little bit Friday, which was interesting, watching cars go through puddles. I know people were amazed. They were like, I can't believe these cars are running in the rain. But the difference is, what I was explaining while I was doing the 4 hours of commentary, is that this track's so hard packed and with the glue that it didn't really matter. Like it kind of puddles up. Yes, it got slippery and all that stuff, but it puddles up. It doesn't get soft. I'm sure it does get soft, but it doesn't get with the glue. It doesn't allow it to get soft. And the cars, even during the rain, were not coming out caked in mud. They're coming off dirty, but not like caked in mud. So they were still able to run. Unfortunately, this race kind of just started off on a bad foot with we saw Savoya had an issue where his car got broken into and they stole his I think they still has 2 backpacks that his laptop. I thought has laptop, his radio, his passport. Another group of people the first day, like in Porto, had the same thing happen. This is nothing unusual. You do not leave stuff for people to see in cars because they will break in and steal them. This has happened in other parts of the world, of Europe. This has happened in America. This happened everywhere. So no fault to the Portuguese country or Porto is a big city. So it's not like it's a small little city. It has, everything that big cities have. So that started it off. And then just the rain also, a lot of the top pros, like I was shocked that Ongaro wasn't coming. He said he was going to the World's warm-up. I think the only person that probably had an excuse not to come to this race was Ronafalt because he was going to PNB. So that kind of put a damper on it. And it was unfortunate. And then some of the races pulled out last minute. I know JC3 was supposed to come. Robert was supposed to come. Bertone, Barufalo. So there were people coming to this race. But when they saw the weather, they pulled out. I can't blame them for that. But at the same time, but we did have the Kilix here. We did have the Parentes here. We had Savoya, even though he didn't have his car. Jessica Paulson was here. We had a lot of the Portuguese drivers here. We had international people like Chemo. We had my buddy Alex Lim come and another young man from Paraguay called Hans Matthias. They came from Paraguay here to race. So I also want to give a big shout out to the racers that did hang around, did brave the weather, did take their cars out there and did go run. Like I said, Friday, it was kind of I didn't appreciate some of the top drivers just leaving on Friday. Like they should have stayed here. We could have done more than just run on the track. We could have done something, I get why they left because it was raining or, the weather was bad. But at the same time, you have drivers here that run your brand, that support you. There's things you can do. We could have went through their cars. We could have checked them. So I think that comes down to my whole argument about we have professional racers in RC, but they don't act professional. But when you have people that come out to brave this and do this, I think you should make the effort to try and stay here and do it. But I totally understand. I understand why they left. Some racers went off to a different track on the Saturday. So Saturday came around. They tried to run. It was just raining on and off. And they said, look, they put the decision up to the racers that were left. They said, hey, if you want to wait till 5, we'll try and race. They're rather supposed to be good at 5. If not, we'll call the race now. Tomorrow on Sunday, you can come out and just have open practice. And that's it. So the racers that were there agreed to just do that. And unfortunately, this race was canceled after such a great race last year, too. Absolute smashing race last year. Great 45-minute final. If you want to check that out, you can check. I'll put a link for that in the written description of this podcast, or I might put it up here. And it was unfortunate that this happened. I really felt for the Figueiredo family because they worked their behinds off. And not just that, just like problem. They had to deal with problem after problem after problem, then the weather. So I'm pretty sure they're probably going to put this race back in May next year because it's good weather. And it was like a freak storm. It was raining almost all of Portugal, everywhere around Portugal. But some of the racers made the pilgrimage about 2.5 hours away to another track. It was like an Astro track. I'm not sure of the name, but they made their way there. It's under like an overpass, so it was like Astro and dirt. So it was kind of sunny there. Wasn't raining too much. And in the end, they made the right decision because Sunday, people were at the track, but it wasn't many, and it was still raining on and off. And then Monday it was raining. Tuesday it's raining. Today is what is today? Today
Wednesday,
Is it Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. See, I'm all messed up. Today is Wednesday. It has absolutely been the best day that I've. It's been sunny. It's like 68 degrees. It's great. I went into town earlier, and yeah, it's just unfortunate, right? Because people did put in hard work. Racers did pay for flights and all that stuff, and it was good. I had a good time hanging out with Bauman and Reevy and everybody. We still had fun. Chemo, but unfortunate, right? So
yeah,
it is what it is. You can't really do nothing about it. As Cap,
so
just
wasn't You said this was usually in May, so why did they change it to April?
Well, they were trying to capitalize on the Easter holiday. They were looking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because last weekend was Easter.
Yeah, so
That's
one of the girls from this group of people, they want to get Americans here to race as well and more international people. And I can't tell you how many countless times I've seen people comment on how much they like this track. And if you guys see me squirming, this chair is very uncomfortable. So that's why also we're trying to make this short. So I think they're trying to. We had talked about it last year. We thought about like, hey, Neo Buggy was always on Easter, so why not put it this year? But the weather just didn't cooperate. I mean, I even heard Figueredo's on me and said, I'm putting a roof on this. Like, I'm gonna get a tent and put a roof on it. And he's still determined. He's like, well, next year I'll get people here. I'm gonna put up prize money, $10,000 and all this type of stuff. So 10,000 euros. So he wants to get people here. I mean, they're gonna have a lot of people here anyway for next year for the 2025 first inaugural EBuggy World Championships. I guess, yeah. So tomorrow I go to Guarda. So that's going to be the EBuggy World Cup. We're going to talk about that in a little bit later on, I think. So
yeah. For IBC, I just think they just, because it was always great weather in May. And in May, there aren't really. There's Silver State.
Well, they were trying to get away from Silver State.
Yeah, but Silver State, like, you could have, isn't Silver State like in beginning of May? So you could have this at the end of May. Because in Europe, you have nothing. Well, you don't have anything at April either, but in Europe, the weather isn't good enough. Really.
Yeah, but
unless
you know what?
Go to the very south.
You know what? The racers should have signed up and supported this race. Like, this race should have had everybody here because.
Oh yeah.
You know what? Here's a mini rant. We got accused of being European bias, but I think we have been just as hard on the Europeans as well. At least the Americans show up for their races, these big races that happen every year.
Yeah.
All right. I know it's a little different because a lot of the race time events are under roofs and all that stuff on the roofs, but at least they show up. And I think I would really like the Europeans to get their shit together when it comes to this type of stuff. When I'm talking about the top drivers, and all agree to go to some races here, then we could have a proper NNRC Cup Europe.
Yeah.
So that's I will say that it's disappointing, very disappointing. Anything else left to say before we go? I just want to say thank you to everybody that came up and showed me some love. I'm sorry. I know it was just hectic. It was crazy. People were trying to get on the track. They were trying to run. And it was just, and then like Saturday came and it was like a lot of the people just didn't show up. So that's what I will say this. Techno is growing here in Europe. Lots of technos here. The Parente brothers obviously were on techno. Watch them. I've watched them before, but I got to really sit off and watch them. Impressive, very fast young men. Danielle seems to be very aggressive, likes to whip, do all that type of stuff. And the younger brother is actually very calm and collected.
Kind of like the Kilic.
Yeah, exactly like the Kilic.
Same dynamic.
We forgot to add some notes because Barkan has left HotRace.
Yeah, he posted it yesterday, which was April, 2 days ago, which was April.
Yeah, but he kind of told me there. But you know what his reason is?
What
he says that he doesn't know anything about setup and he just copies his brother's setup. And he wants to be on the same tires as his brother so he doesn't have to worry about it. That's his reason. He said to me, I know Nicola's probably not too happy about it, but Burak runs Seismic, so I guess they just want to, he says, the funny thing about Barkan is like he's into gaming and developing stuff, whereas Burak is the one that really wants to be the pro driver. Not saying that Barkan doesn't want to be it, but is more into going to school and all that stuff. He doesn't know how to wrench. He'll tell you that. And everything he does, he just copies from his brother. So Barkan, but I had a good time with them as well. We went to dinner one night and it was fun. It was fun. It was fun to hang out.
Yeah, that's interesting because I think for Euros especially, or the Worlds especially, HotRace would have been like great because they have been really good at theirs. But to be honest, granted, like Seismic was pretty good last year as well.
Yeah. I think all these all these European tires are starting to catch each other up. Yeah,
they're really but it's just a whole separate conversation. But we could talk about it sometime, but it would be too long today. But like Joseph said, when I listened to the podcast at 278, Joseph talked about this, that we're at a point where it's people are gonna start making prototype compounds soon. Probably are already making.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see some prototype compounds at Relevant.
Yeah, I mean, for like, I am 99% sure that J Concepts will have prototype compounds because they do that all the time.
No, this has been going on for years, since back in the day. So this is
yeah. But I think now with the tracks being the way they are in Europe, like even the clays, like you see everyone is starting to come up with more and more clay. We could be having like 5 clay compounds. I think it started with Proline coming out with the X, then the S, and so on. And like now we have 12, 15 compounds. And then I'm very certain that in the next 2 to 3 years, all the pros are going to be running some type of proto compound for different races. And I think that's not what we really want. Hence why I'm a very strong supporter of control tires. But yeah, it's a whole another discussion.
All right. Well, that's a great segue into our next part of this podcast, which is the Worlds, but that's going to be brought to you by Techno RC.
Techno RC. Techno RC is a championship-winning manufacturer of high-performance A-scale, 10-scale, nitro, and electric RC buggies and trucks. With a worldwide dealer network, USA and Europe-based headquarters, comprehensive warranty program, and global race support, Techno RC is excellence in RC. View the full lineup of Techno RC race-proven vehicles by visiting www.technorc.com.
Thank you, Techno RC. I got to talk to Elias this weekend as well. Be sure, obviously one of our favorite topics is JQ and how hard he is to work with. But he seems to be very comfortable. And like I said, Techno definitely growing here in Europe. So thank you, Techno, for all your support. All right, Max. So I was I was in America when I got this news about unfortunately, so they have Brazil messaged, put up a post up of about a week and a half ago that they have canceled the Worlds from be happening in Sao Paulo at Casa. Now I messaged Fernando, who I've been working with to promote this, and he says it's about permits, and I think he said false rumors and all that type of stuff. And I've talked to a few people, and I think it came down to this, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it came down to they had about a few guys who were, this putting on the Worlds costs a lot of money. They had to get permits because where the track is, it's like a park, right? I think it's like government owned and all that type of stuff. So they had to get permits to do that. They were gonna expand some stuff, and they were on their way to building this track and all this type of stuff and upgrading the facility. I think between that, and I think, honestly, you want my honest opinion? I think between the amount of negativity that this race was getting about people not coming and people thinking they're going to get robbed, killed, and all kidnapped and all this type of shit, I think that between the permits and then that, I think they just said, you know what? We're going to try to spend all this money and do this, and then nobody's going to come, and all these people are talking shit about Brazil right now. I mean, I'm not saying that nobody was going to come. I think people were going to go.
Oh, Europeans was going to go.
Yeah, a lot of the Europeans were going to go. I know I talked to a few Americans that were going to go. There was also some stuff going on with, I talked about this in 278, which was going on where Americans needed a visa to go there. Americans, Canadians, and Australians, right? And that was freaking people out. And I'm like, well, most people need visas to come to. I don't.
Yeah, but the story is fucking hilarious because
I know because
after Bolsonaro got out, America made this thing that Brazilians cannot come to America without a visa. Canada and Australia followed suit, obviously. So Brazil was just like, okay, well, if our people can't go to their countries, then, what then? And now, like, Americans like, what the fuck? So I think it's silly. Like, the whole situation is dumb.
Well, I think Brazilians needed visas to go to America for a long time. Just like I know about this visa thing, right? I have tried 2 times to apply for a visa for my wife. She's Dominican, and we have not got it either way, and we have no explanation. But I understand why, right? I understand why because it's just I understand why. Now, getting as a European, you need a visa to go to America. You need an ESTA, right? So it's not a big deal. But it was some rules. It wasn't retaliation for Americans. I think that, like I said, I don't think America made this decision. I think it's been a decision by America. You need a visa to go from a Brazilian that needs a visa to go to America anyway.
Yeah.
It's been like that for a long time.
Yeah.
I think they just decided to do it, but Bolsonaro decided to do it. And I mean, it was $80. It cost 5 years, but I was talking to different people that were looking at it. I went and looked up online. It was going to go into effect in April of this year, supposedly. And something like you have to have $2,000 in your bank account and all this type of stuff. Really, that's kind of normal stuff though, because like you have to have a return or ticket out of. It's just a lot of stuff. But I get it for people who don't travel much. That may scare them and stuff like that. So I just think, and just all the negativity that was surrounded around Brazil, all the negativity that was surrounded about any race in the South America or FAMAR block, right? Mm-hmm. So they canceled it out. We have 5 months to go, and then I guess you can bring up the rules if you want.
Let me share it. Because
so basically,
I think this is really key to understand here.
Well, let's regress a little bit, because in 2020 Brazil was actually supposed to hold the Worlds, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, that didn't happen due to COVID. Let's bring this up on the big screen. That didn't happen due to COVID. Then they were supposed to have it in 2022, but they were unable to have it, I guess, because of COVID regulations. They just didn't have time to get it all together. Even though I traveled to Brazil shortly after September in 2022, and you actually had to still wear a mask on the plane. Oh, it's weird. You could wear it or you had to wear it, and then before you got off the plane, they actually sprayed the plane with the attendants walked on and sprayed like a disinfectant spray in the aisle before you can get off, and you had to. It was weird. Like you had to. I've never seen this I'm flying to a lot of places, and you had to disembark by zone.
Yeah,
I've never seen that before. So, but when I traveled around Brazil for the week or so that I was there, I had fun. I never felt in danger. Obviously, I'm used to traveling. I understand people's concerns, but one thing I want to say is that I heard all this negativity about tourists and all that stuff. Yes, look, I get it. I know Brazil isn't like the safest place in the world. I think a lot of people think Rio de Janeiro is a little bit tricky, but I'll still go there. I have lots of friends that go there. I personally went to Sao Paulo. I saw some of the bad parts and stuff like that. It's a huge city of 22 million people. It's big. It's big. Tens of thousands of tourists flock to Sao Paulo every year for one thing, Formula One. Now, I'm sure there are people that get robbed. I'm sure there are people that get in fights and all that type of stuff. When you got that many people there, it's stuff like that's going to happen. I think that the whole negativity towards Brazil was unwarranted, because I know where a lot of it comes from too. The custom stuff that happened in Argentina was a big thing for them, right?
No, I think
2000. Well, a lot of people brought this up too. 2012, and they got customs and all this type of stuff. But there's rules for that too, right? Now 2012 and 2024 are two different things. Back in 2012, we didn't have freaking iPhones where you could bring it out and record people, right? Things are different. You didn't have internet on tap. So I'm not saying that probably wouldn't happen, but you got to be smart, right? So I know I went through customs. Jake, you went through customs. Robert went through customs when we went there. Nobody had any issues. I had about damn near 30 damn invisible speed books in my bag, and I mean, but different strokes for different folks. I understand when people don't travel much, it could be a little bit.
Yeah, and I think
scared.
Yeah, we talked about this on the Discord, but I think it has to be said that yes, in Argentina there were issues, but that's not the main reason for people. It's not that they heard once that in Argentina they had issues with customs in 2012. That's not why. It's
also just to say that I also heard from a lot of people that went to the Argentinian world, and this is no offense to the Argentinian people because I've been there. not to Buenos Aires, but up in Mendoza. Even JQ said this, that it was just a lot of people felt unsafe and they felt like they were going to get robbed in some points. And this is, I mean, I don't know. This is back in 2012. I wasn't there. But yeah, I agree with what you're about to say, but I think a lot of the negativity towards going to South America came from 2012. But this isn't the first time that we have seen people not go to a Worlds. We saw this happen in South Africa. We saw this happen in Jakarta. And you know what happens is, like, look, like I was just watching the Jakarta Worlds this morning, listening to it. And like, some guys went and they were like, we're having a blast. Like, you talked to Dagani, he was like, man, it was awesome. Like JQ said, it was awesome. So that then led to a big scramble, right? So go ahead, say what you're going to say, and then we'll go on.
Yeah, so because it has to be stated out, because when we had the Worlds in Thailand, nobody worried, because everyone goes to fucking holiday in Thailand and they know it. They know the place. But when it's Indonesia, when it's South Africa, when it's anywhere in South America, where tourism isn't that big, you know? Yeah, people go to Mexico. All the Americans were fucking jumping on the bandwagon when Mexico applied for the FOMAR block, and then they got mad. But we'll go into that in a second. Because people know these places. When people are used to these places and traveled there before and so on, they're like, yeah, even though by any metric they are not different from anything else. Mexico is probably more dangerous in terms of statistics compared to Brazil or Argentina or anything else. And I think all it boils down to is just like xenophobia. And I'm meaning this in the fear of unknown sense. Because people just don't know what it is. And because they don't know, they assume the worst. And this is where they come up with excuses. Like granted, Argentina had issues with customs. But that's an example that they can easily bring up. If Argentina didn't have any issues with customs, they would still say something about it, that, oh, they saw a robbery here. Or in Jakarta, I bet there's some Americans who still think that it was the right decision not to go in 2006, even though many people went and had one of the best races ever there. And I think this is what we actively have to resist in RC, this idea of if it's not in Vegas or in UK, you can't travel there from anywhere else, you know, which is absolute bullshit. Europeans luckily have started to go. They went to AMS. They went. Yeah,
but I saw a lot of negativity from Europeans too, as well.
There was some, but most of that was UK, to be honest.
Let's be honest. A lot of that was John Skidmore. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but
that was
like
Skidmore.
Yeah, I mean, there were UK people liking John's comments, but in general, the people who are against traveling are Americans and the UK people. And the fucking silly part is those two are probably the biggest colonizers in terms of like the recent history. So it's in some sense ridiculous, but yeah.
Well, and then I also understand the argument about having it in the biggest markets, right?
Yeah, but that's a completely separate thing, in my opinion.
Right, I understand that. So after this, we saw a scramble. We saw a couple of news posts. We saw a scramble that Argentina, that held it back in 2012, was going to bid for it. We saw that Bolivia, which I've been to Bolivia too. I know the people that I haven't been to that track, but I know the person that's going to put it on. They probably look nice there. And then, of course, Mexico came out, which I think Mexico would have been the front runner for this. Yeah. Like you said, a lot of the Americans who might not have, who felt a little bit some way about Brazil, Argentina, Bolivia, Mexico, that track, you know, like I know a lot of the Texas guys go down there to race there. I know like Tim Lime and a lot of the S-Works guys go down there. So they know they've been there and they feel it's safe. Well, that's kind of how I felt when people were talking about Brazil, right?
Yeah.
You know, I've been to Brazil. I've been to the track. I'm gone. Not, mind you, I've not been there for many times, but I'm also cut from a different cloth. I live in Dominican Republic. I'm not Dominican. You know, Dominican Republic is a crazy place, or shithole country, as some people might say it. I love it there. It's crazy, but I know how to get around. I've been doing it for many years. But so I guess we have to tackle this. Let's bring up the rule and explain what happens once this happens.
Bring it back up, because when Brazil announced that they was not gonna have the Worlds, or IFMAR announced that Brazil was not gonna have the Worlds. Obviously, we at NNRC went straight to the rule book, and so here is this. Here is this paragraph that's going to be really key here when we talk about the following thing. So an alternate venue, they have 1 month to submit an alternate venue. And if it's not proposed, then the World Championship will automatically be offered to the previous block on the corresponding rotation list, which in this case was obviously EFRA. And I think this is very, very simple. It's like you can't do anything about that. One thing that is interesting, though, I have to say now, because we have this rule book open, somewhere it says about here, the previous block on the corresponding order without losing its natural rotation order. So according to this, in 2026, it should go back to FAMAR. Obviously, I think in this case it doesn't.
No.
But according to the rules, it should. Right?
That's no. So I had to get that clarified too. I thought that's what happened. And I talked to somebody about that, and they said that because when it was explained to me back in 2022, there was still the threat of COVID and all this type of stuff. So apparently it was under extenuating circumstances. Right.
Okay.
So the natural rotation comes up. It's America in 2026. So America will get their. Will hold it in 2026. Now, I was obviously, me, I throwing fuel on the fire, stirring that pot clockwise and anti-clockwise. I know a lot of people jumped and were like, "Oh, they can have it at." I heard a lot of things. Maybe AMA might have it. I know Silver Dollar might have it. I know HRCR wants to have a Worlds too in 2026 as well, but by the rules, it could not go to America, right? It had to go if the FAMAR submissions were rejected, then it had to go to EFRA, right? Not the same track, but to EFRA. Now, I want to step back, and I just want to talk to people. Yes, I know the rules said it takes a month, right? We are now in April. So that would have mean it would have had to be a decision made in a month, which would have been in about 3 weeks' time, right? They had 3 weeks' time to make the decision. If they would have went by the rules, I think as much as I was the biggest proponent for this going to FAMAR, to Brazil, I feel Mexico was the top runner, and I think people would have been more comfortable with Mexico. I did see Europeans talking about it, mostly from I saw, as much as we say Skidmore, because he is very outspoken, he brought up a good point. He said, what if the same thing happens where we don't get permits and all this type of stuff? Don't think that would have happened in Mexico. I talked to the Mexican guys, and I think that was the route they were going. But I think IFMAR said, I say this, and this is my personal opinion, I think putting it anywhere in the FAMAR block, again, with 5 months ago, would have been a very hard sell to the RC community. Is that right? No. But they had 5 months ago, they had to give it to EFRA, the oldest, probably most, even though we complain about it, and I'm going to complain about it in a second, probably the most organized sanctioning body out there. I think in this, a lot of people are blaming IFMAR. I get on IFMAR. I think IFMAR done the right thing here. I think that they thought about it. They didn't have much time. And I thought we have to go with the best option that we are guaranteed to have a world-class event. Now, I'm not saying that Mexico couldn't pull it off. I think it would have just been, I think had more people been more positive about Brazil, right, then we would have seen a race in FAMAR, right? So I understand why they did. They're like, hey, if we put this in, I think they thought if they put this anywhere in Mexico, in FAMAR block, that it would have been met with resistance from somebody. It would have been ho and hummed and all this stuff. I mean, we see them humming and humming now over Redovan. Now, let's fast forward a minute, and then all of a sudden I'm at Portugal, and I know that I know a few tracks. So I know a few tracks are in EFRA put in. I know that Barcelos, where I'm at now, they wanted to do it, could have done it. We're willing to put in a new track and everything and ready for September. I know Hungaroring wanted to do it as well. And I heard that a track in Germany wanted to do it. So there were options besides Redovan. And this is no slight. I want people to understand this right now. This is no slight to the Redovan facility, the Baldo brothers, the Baldo family. They did a fucking excellent job at the 2020-22 Worlds. I know they're going to do a great job in the 2024 Worlds. But I would have liked to have seen. Oh, hold on. So when I found out about this, when I saw the news, because I found out about it on Facebook, my little birdie told me that EFRA did not even allow tracks to bid. I don't even think that the Baldo brothers knew that they were going to get this. Yeah. Right? They just the head of EFRA 1/8 scale section, I'm not going to mention names here.
Everyone knows who it is, but we'll be okay. But everyone knows who that guy is.
They just automatically said it's going to Redovan. No. I also understand that. Like I understand that part. We have 5 months left to go. We want to put it somewhere where we know we're gonna have it. I do not agree with not allowing other tracks to bid. And I know for a fact that Barcelos was talked about and as a possible reason. They say the excuse is that they're gonna have the 2025 Worlds. Well, Worlds too. They got the 25 EBuggy Worlds.
I think okay, let me try to like put into words the context we are living in. So the FOMAR block by the rules should be given a month of time. I do think with 5 months to go to the event, month is too much, okay? But to their like defense, they already had 3 submissions. One who had held a world championship before, granted didn't go fully to plan. Then one in Bolivia, which was quite an established venue, and they had all the requirements to put on the event. And then one in Mexico. I think Argentina, due to the fact that it had been a Worlds before, and due to the fact that it wasn't a perfect, if it was a perfect job, then obviously the stakes would be higher. But I think it would be in Bolivia and Mexico for FOMAR. I do understand the reasoning that these countries have not organized, or these venues have not organized international events to the extent that would require for a world champion. That's, in my opinion, a valid argument, and that's why some other venues, even in America or Europe, in my opinion, wouldn't be qualified. But my main issue is exactly on the fact that the decision was made within one meeting. I don't know how thoroughly they reviewed the bids from the FAMAR block, but basically they had, from my understanding, they had one meeting where they went through the FAMAR bids, said no to everything, decided that they would move it to EFRA, and then decided which organizer it would be within EFRA. I think that is just way
No. IFMAR had no decision on what happened with the Redovan decision. That's what they were told. EFRA said we are doing it at Redovan, from what I was
told. So when IFMAR's board rejected going to FOMAR, EFRA already had told them that our organizer would be this. Is that right? Yeah.
Pretty much. So they did not allow bids from other tracks. Yeah. EFRA did not allow bids from other tracks.
And I think this no bids thing is for 2 reasons really bad. For number one, obviously the fact that these tracks had already prepared bids. Like you said, Barcelos and all these tracks that was in there, Sachile, they were all most likely had bids prepared and probably already sent out at that point. None of them were taken seriously, and to me, that's already that is unfair. At least there should have been an open discussion within EFRA, within so on. But number two of this, I do not think Worlds is an event which you could held twice at the same venue. I just don't think, like, what if you had Olympics now in Paris and then in 4 years you had Olympics in Paris again? I think the prestige and sort of seriousness of it all, it definitely isn't, in my opinion, acceptable to hold it at the same venue, period, and on top of that twice in a row. I think that in and of itself is a big enough reason to not go back to Redovan. Granted, I think of the applications, Barcelos and Redovan were as good. I do understand for Barcelos, they are holding next year the European Championships for Nitro Buggy and the Worlds for EBuggy. So I understand that if there's 3 major races within EFRA block at one venue, within, let's say, a year of each other, I think that's too. So I don't think Barcelos would have been my number one because of that reason solely. But I think Sachile, yeah, they're holding in Euros this year, but I think Sachile would be better still because of the fact that, Redovan just held it.
Okay.
But
so
the best one would obviously be a venue that has a lot of experience, would be open to bid and organize an event of this scale. Like there's many in Europe, but
yes,
that wasn't considered at all.
But let's dress back a little bit to the Euros and where they've been over the last 5 years. So Chile is having his 3rd Euro since 2015.
Yeah.
Redovan has had 2 European championships that I know of, right? They had it in 2016, and then again, they're having it again this year. They had it last year, sorry.
Yeah.
Barcelos had it in 2022, and they're going to have it again. Something is not attractive to tracks to do this race. One, it costs a lot of money, right?
No,
it costs a shit ton of money. And I think Mick Craddock said it once. He said most tracks that hold European championships are going after they have them, right? I don't think we're seeing tracks bid on these things, Max.
I disagree because I
beg to differ.
Specifically. No, but in Roar, I do agree because Roar uses a very different system.
Yeah, but Roar goes around to different tracks. They're going to be at a brand new track this year.
Yeah, I know, but Roar uses a very different system to pay the clubs. When you have a lot of entries, it's not as financially stable. When you have for Roar, if you have 50 entries at your nats, it's financially almost better than having 200 entries.
No, because listen, let me tell you how Roar does it. You don't make no money if the club makes no money off 50 entries. They don't get nothing. Roar gets it all. You did
no. They pay. They pay a blank amount.
No, they pay a certain amount. That's it, like $1,500.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
That's nothing. That is nothing.
No, but for a 50 entry race, it's a pretty good.
Yeah, but
more
that track
than you'd make on entry.
So let's take the EBuggy nats. That track still has to be changed. So this is where that track still has to be changed. They still have to do all this type of stuff. $1,500 isn't gonna cover all that. They're making.
Well, that's what I'm saying. For entries like the paved nats, Roar is good deal because they always make a certain amount of money and they can budget off of that. But for dirt and dirt nuts in any sense, it's so much more expensive because you have a lot of people, so you have to hold it in 4 days, maybe 5 days even. And then also on top of that, you have to prepare the track. So that's because the amount of entries is not helping the clubs in Roar races.
Well, they do. So after a certain amount of entries, they get a percentage of the entries, and they got an extra bonus. Where the tracks make their money, is in pit sales, sponsorship money, and t-shirt sales and all this stuff. Now, if you have a track like A-Main, I don't think they charge for pit slasher. I think you just pit there. I could be wrong, but they didn't sell t-shirts either. So, maybe I didn't get one. I can't remember. I don't know how things work in Europe, but something is okay. Go ahead, tell me how it works because I don't want to dwell on this too much.
Yeah, because in Europe, I discussed with one Finnish organizer who has held the Euros, and he said that yes, the workload is a lot, but EFRA pays for the referees. They send them. They don't require anything from the club. The entries are divided. If I remember correctly, it was almost like 50-50 or something crazy. So for the club, it's really, really good to have the European Championships.
Don't seem like it because no other tracks are bidding on it.
Well, no, it's not that because a lot of tracks are bidding. I think the whole thing, because for example, I know for a fact Fairing has tried to get the 8-scale off-road worlds for multiple years already, and they haven't. Euros, sorry, 8-scale off-road Euros for multiple years, and they haven't got it. They've gotten like 40 plus and so on.
They got some Euro B, I think, too, and 5th-scale Euros.
Yeah, and I think this whole thing is there's something fucked there because I hear from many clubs that they can't get the races. They want, but they can't. In 10 scale, it's different because they actually haven't had any bids. But in 8 scale, there's been many bids, but they always get cancelled. So this is what he sent me, the guy. So he said that he's organized a European event. So 90% of entry goes to club. EFRA takes 10% of entry money. Entry is, I think, 150 per class.
How much is it? 150 euros per class?
Yeah.
And usually 150 at 150 drivers per class.
Yeah.
There's only one class, so it's 150 times 150.
90% goes to the club. EFRA takes 10%. And then even if people cancel, they get the money because they pay beforehand. On top of this, EFRA pays 2,500 or 3,000 support money to the organizer.
Okay.
And then, this money is to pay for the EFRA staff. And he says that that for Worlds, it's not that good because we had the Worlds at Finland. But he said that a big part of it at Euros goes to the club. Okay. So I understand because like I thought it was as bad in EFRA, and because he listens to the podcast too, and we was talking about how like financially not good it is for clubs, and he said that actually it's not for EFRA, it's really good.
Okay.
But then and I was surprised about the numbers as well.
I am too. But I'm sure there's going to be somebody that comes in there and says that's not true. But he's held a European Championships. So
he's held, and
was this an 8-scale or 10-scale championships?
This was Pancars.
Oh, okay. So even less people.
Yeah, but
people.
No, but they have stock and mod, so they have quite a bit.
Okay.
So, but anyway, I think it's like, to me, I don't think there has to be something in the works because there are clubs that would really like to hold the Euros but haven't got it.
Well, I know for a fact that Barcelos was presented and by other people besides EFRA. I know that for a fact. So I also want to reiterate, this is absolutely nothing to do with Redovan or the Baldo brothers. Now, before we move on, I also understand why the people of FAMAR are upset too. They are upset. I mean, people were just, it was like people were just, not everybody, but you just see people, because my buddy is from down there, down south in South America, and he was just sending me messages like, look what this guy said, look what this person said. Ignorance is bliss, right? When people don't travel and go to places, they don't know what happens at different places. When your opinion of a country is made up from social media and news without actually, and news, whatever news reports that you're watching, because I don't trust any of them, you're gonna be fed all the negative shit that comes from that country. When in fact, there are big cities in these countries with lots of money, people with lots of money. Most of the people that are doing these RC in these FAMAR countries, South American, Latin American countries, are like upper middle class to uber rich, right? It's not all doom and gloom. It's like, you're not gonna, it's not like, I live in one of these countries. I am a part of FAMAR. I have been a part of FAMAR. I have paid my dues for FAMAR. I actually was supposed to represent Dominican Republic as a FAMAR when I qualified to represent them in the 2016 Worlds. I didn't go because I didn't have money to go. I think I honestly feel for the FAMAR. They were just getting insulted. Like I can feel how these people feel. Like you're just talking all this crap about my country, or just in a country, a whole region, a whole continent of people. Two continents, pretty much. Wow, Central America and Latin America. So I definitely felt for them, and I get how they felt. And people were blaming. I don't fully blame IFMAR for this. I understand why they did it, right? I totally understand why they did it. IFMAR is the federation amongst all the negativity about going to these countries still persists on going to these countries. Now, a lot of people say, like JQ says, International Federation of Men Arranging the Retreats. Well, we have some new people in there, and they're trying to do things right? They're trying to do things differently. I definitely think that we need to get into IFMAR, get some of these rules jumbled up, like shook up and changed, and get things going. Now, I want to look at, so we understand there was no bidding for this. I can also understand Efra's side of this. Redavon held it. Do I full 100% agree with this? No, but I'm going to look at the positives. I talked to the Baldo brothers. They said, so this is what I was told, and this says in the post, mandatory track change, big track change, right? Now, I know they said this at the 2022 Worlds. They did make a change, not that big change. I heard that the only thing that's going to stay the same at this track is the concrete rollers, like whoop section, which is all concrete, and everything else is going to be changed. That's what I heard. And I heard that from numerous sources within who would know this, that it is absolutely mandatory. Like even the Spanish Federation is going to push that they change as much of the track as possible. Now, this is not going to be an easy process. This track is huge. Now, then, of course, we hear all they're going to have the Spanish nationals. They don't have the Spanish nationals there this year. Number one. Yeah. People don't just look. This track is done in Redavon. It's not like it's 30 minutes away from Robert Badier's house. He lives in Barcelona. He actually has to probably drive a few 4 or 5 hours to get there.
It's around 5 hours.
People don't just go, hey, I'm going to go to Redavon to practice today. It doesn't happen like that, right? Here's one of the other positives about it maybe being at Redavon. It's going to be the same time of year as 2022. The Americans got over there. They have a feel for what the temperature is going to be like. They know how this. I'm pretty sure the surface is going to be the same, right?
Yeah. They've done now, I think, 3 major events with the same. What is it?
Same surface. Same type of surface.
I think they use like glue and
they use some
sugar.
other type of They use
it's not like Barcelona's, but it's a little bit similar. But they've used the same, and it's very consistent every time.
Right.
Over there.
So the American drivers that are doing, I said, well, you guys had a warm-up race in 2022, right?
Yeah.
I do think that they probably shouldn't have a warm-up race. I think they should do whatever race they have to do between now and summertime. Shut the track down, because this isn't a track that is for profit either. They can shut the track down, make a whole new layout, get it ready for September, and there is enough days. And instead of running 2 runs a day, run 3 runs. Let people get practice, like Monday, Tuesday, right? I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday you do practice, and then Thursday, Friday qualifying. Just let people get 3 runs. We had enough time to do 3 runs. But here's why I thought that. Obviously, I'm nearing there to Barcelos because I'm hearing about the people and I know they want to do it. But here's the kicker. Had it been in Barcelos, which is a great facility, they would have done. They told me right away we would do a 100% track change on that track. But here's the thing: this could have been the warm up for the EBuggy Worlds.
Yeah, well, okay, I agree with most of what you said, and I do think IFMAR they made at worst a lazy decision, but realistically. The safe decision.
Yes, absolutely.
But what I would have, obviously I don't know in the background what's going on, but I would have done a few things differently. Okay. And the way I would have done it would be this. We had the previous Worlds at Redovan. Going back to Redovan, to me, in and of itself, is silly. And yeah, here's, by the way, the whole update of what they do. They're going to do the track change and so on. But my thinking process here would have been this. Barcelos has been offered the 2025 EBuggy Worlds. They haven't held any type of world championship before. And they're going to also held the 2025 European Championship for A-Scale Off-Road. So what if instead Barcelos held the Nitro Buggy Worlds this year? Next year they would hold the EBuggy, Nitro Buggy Euros, and they would switch between Redovan for the EBuggy.
I think that would have been a great idea. And I heard
EBuggy Worlds would be in Redovan. They could change the track. They'd have a year to prepare a new track. It would be a brand new venue for EBuggy Worlds. And Nitro Buggy would have a new venue. And also on top of this, next year, Barcelos has to hold 2 international events. Redovan holds none. And this year, Redovan, out of the blue, holds an international event that they did 2 years ago and last year as in Euros. And Barcelos hosts none big international events, apart from obviously IBC, but like EFRA sanctioned events. I think like this, I know for a fact Barcelos would have probably jumped on it 100%. They'd rather take Worlds this year and then Euros next year than nothing this year and then Worlds next year and Euros next year. I'm very certain of this. And for Redovan, nothing would pretty much change for them because they just have more time.
Absolutely. In fact, when I was talking to Mr. Figueredo, he said that too. He said, We'll change. They take the EBuggy Worlds. We'll take the Nitro Buggy Worlds. Remember, this is the first ever EBuggy Worlds. It's going to be packed. It's gonna be packed.
Like everyone's going to be there. And especially, like, I think for both EBuggy Worlds as a event and for Redovan, it would be better that it was in Redovan because people know that place. So you'd be like, okay, let me go race EBuggy there. But now, like, there might be some people who have never gone to Barcelos and are like, yeah, I just went to Europe last year. I don't want to go to Barcelos because, like, we're not going to do good. And then some people are going to be like, yeah, we just went to drive Nitro Buggy at Redovan. So I think, I don't know, like, what happened in EFRA to not think of this. Like, why couldn't this was just such a like just a layup. I think this is just a layup, and they were like, "Oh, what the fuck is it? The bird?" and just dropped the ball because
it's so stupid, right? It's so stupid.
I think every single person in the RC world would have been like, "This makes so much sense. I understand what happened with FOMAR. Kind of silly that we go back to Europe, but I think this is really cool." And now everyone's complaining. Us, the people on Facebook, everyone's mad. And like, except for maybe Redovan, apart from the fact that everyone's complaining at them too, right?
No, but I think Ryan Lutz, so I love that idea. I love that idea. Switch it around. That way, so then the Euros, they will still have, they'll still have a fresh layout for the Euros, even though it'll be the World's layout.
Yeah.
I think that would have been the best scenario. And then people would have got to see something else, right? And it would have been. I know that the Worlds would have been great here, but with that said, I do like Ryan Lutz's attitude. He says, "Oop, I got another chance." I saw Tebow say, "I wish I had another chance." So I think the American guys are kind of satisfied. The top guys, top pros, are satisfied with this decision because they know what the track. I think it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see what designs they do. What track designs they do. I know there's a lot of negativity about they're not going to do nothing, but they have to mandatory do nothing. But I do not like the decision by EFRA. This once again shows why EFRA has to be fucking revamped as well. EFRA has to be revamped and get that old crowd out of there.
We know I kind of feel like just saying we know who the guy is, and like just to try to. When Garcia left, the president of EFRA.
Who I thought would have been excellent.
He would have been excellent, but there was this vote then for a new one, and the head of 8 scale was so unpopular that everyone agreed to vote for anyone who would go against this person. Okay, so that was like a year or two ago, and I think this just shows that like it's not functional the way it's right now. And I like decisions like this just proves to everyone that things need to change within 8 scale as well.
Absolutely.
And yeah,
absolutely. But you know what?
I want to say emphasis on, because it's not Redowan's fault. I know for a fact that all those are not going to be like, we want it, we'll pay you under the table. They're not people like that. I know for a fact. And they are eager to hold events. They hold great events. They know how to do it. The track's amazing. And when they say they're going to
made money on the last race, I think they just about broke even. The amount of money they spent.
Yeah. They have like, they can adapt. Last year, that area is huge, and within a day they made it so that they would have enough lights to race the Euro's main on the lights. And
right, you was there, right?
Yeah. And I think they did pretty much everything perfectly. And on top of this, if they change the layout. If they say they change the layout, they actually will. And when people say it's a permanent track, blah blah blah, they have changed the layout, I think 3 or 4 times now within 10 years. And less than 10 years, actually. So it's like...
Yeah, but I know what people want. I saw some person talk about, change your driver's stand. I was like, what track in America changes the driver's stand? I don't understand.
Yeah, like what the... But I think the whole thing that, they're not going to change the track, blah, blah, blah. No, especially in Spain, the tracks change a lot. Like, there hasn't been a year where the buggy...
Radovan has stayed. Radovan still, a lot of things have stayed the same at Radovan. But if you went to this track, you would understand.
No, but 2016 and 2018 was totally different from what it was in 2022. So they have changed it a lot. There's like the only thing that has remained the same is the front straight and one jump at the back, the very first one. Well, and I think
it's gonna be great. Now, I think the American racers, because they went into 2022 very, like I would say, they defeated themselves before they went there. Like they were talking about SSA and track and home court advantage and all that type of stuff. Now I think they'll have a better attitude going towards it. They've had some time, and they had a whole week on the track. They were competitive. I mean, Mayfield, Fend, Tessman, all these guys are fast when they were there. Cole Ogden was fast, all this type of stuff. So I think in that sense, I think it's going to be fine on that tip. I know a lot of people are like, it's, we got berated for being European friendly early, and this is what we wanted. But I just want people to know that it was never going to come to America anyway.
Yeah,
it was always going to go to EFRA by the rules.
I loved it when people was like, "Oh, let's go to HRC," or
not saying that there's events, not saying that those places can't hold it. I'm just saying
can hold it in
never
2 years.
Happen.
Yeah, they can hold it in 2 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right. You know what, Max? We were supposed to do this in an hour and a half, and I just know we're not going to do it. So let's get. Your girlfriend was right. We're not going to be fast, but we're going to be on the 2 hours today. Next up is
this is kind of the TMC stuff, right?
This is you know what? Let's call this section of the podcast RCTMZ. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to call it. Yeah. I don't know who this is brought to you by, but let's just say it's brought to you by Sidewinder Fuel. Morgan Fuel has been collaborating with many of the world's top drivers for over 40 years. This has enabled us to test our fuels in many of the most challenging situations and take the development of competition fuels to the next level. The result is Sidewinder, the market's most powerful racing fuel. This fuel has been track tested and proven by national world champions such as Ryan Cavalieri, Ryan Mayfield, Greg Degani, Mark Pavidas, and currently their top driver is the young Little Bump. These drivers appreciate that Sidewinder is blended perfectly for the high performance needs of competitive racing. Don't let victory slip through your fingers. purchase Sidewinder today. If you're looking to purchase some Sidewinder, hit me up. I'll put you in connection where you can do that. All right. So
actually, I kind of regret calling this TMC because I think I've done quite like good level research.
You know,
So let's
you know
put this
why I
up on
called it
screen.
RCTMZ? You know why I called myself RCTMZ? Because you know what? It's like Greg Degani when he started calling me Lefty. I tried to fight it, then I just accepted it. Now Anthony Westergaard and all these other people start calling me TMZ, RCTMZ. Well, that's it. RCTMZ, NNRC Patreon, and YouTube members. That's where it's going to be. But being as this is kind of all, let's do the intro into this first before we bring up this document. So, I got a message this weekend. Anonymous tip. You know, that's how things happen. Anonymous tip. The person said, "You probably already know this." I said, "No, but I haven't heard anything, so let me know." But Cole Ogden, the people's champ, the beast of the East, as I call him, HB's, my buddy called him the last Mohican the other day.
Yeah, the last man standing.
Yeah, the last man standing at HB Pro Driver was at SMB this past weekend running a Mugen, I was told. Now, I was told this, and I listened to it, and I was like, not surprised, right? Then I got a couple of more messages after he made a post, right? Do you have that post up, Max? Did you bring that post up?
I don't have that post.
Okay, so he
a lot
made
of JNT stuff.
Yeah, a lot of JNT stuff. And now Cole's not dumb. He was very smart. This was to get people talking. I know it was because it got me talking. So he posted that and he said something about the Cole Ogden roller barons. So people can specifically look at that. Now, eagle-eyed Mugen fans got on it right away. Right, so I got messages. Oh, Cole's running. He's gonna run Mugen. It's a signed deal. It's this, it's that. And I was like, all right, it's time for Lefty to say something. I should have just went to Patreon. That would have been a smart thing to do. Then everybody would have went there. I'd have made some money, but I didn't. I said it out front. I didn't say who it was. I made that post, and I got people talking. Those who wanted Patreon and YouTube membership, they got to see what I talked about, and also some other news in there as well about HB. So it's no big secret. We saw the Fullers leave HB, Little Bump leave HB, and this is all because they were owed money. Now a lot of people asked about Cole. Was he getting paid? I heard he got paid, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the year.
I think he got saved by the fact that he had an official contract of work instead of Fullers and Little Bump. They got just travel money, but because Cole was officially an employee. By law, the company is obligated to pay him. Otherwise,
and then they saved a whole bunch of money by not having to pay the Fullers or Little Bump too, right? So anyway, we have talked about this before. We've seen it. All right, let's stay on Cole before we get into HB. So it does sound like Cole is going to be running Mugen. Now, not from what I heard, he's not sponsored by Mugen. I heard he bought a truggy and he's running a borrowed car. So you have people that say it's a signed deal. I heard from other top drivers after this that he was not happy at DNC. I wouldn't be happy either if I was in the C main. And he bumped up to the B and he wanted to try some other cars. And whatnot. Now he did used to drive Mugen back in the day. And he saw a lot of success. He went there after TLR. He was very fast. And then he went to HB after that. But it sounds like he's just I heard he was very fast at SMB too. So it's gonna be interesting to see. We've said this countless times. We wouldn't be surprised if Cole Ogden wins a race, or if Cole Ogden's in the C main. That's Cole Ogden, or anywhere in between. Right? We know he has the talent to win these races. We know he's good. So obviously this started a lot of chat on our Discord. This started chat on the internet. And I love this type of stuff. It's like silly season has come early. I don't know what's going on with Cole and HB, if he's out or he's done. You know, you heard somebody say, oh, he's just running this till something gets sorted out or whatever. I don't believe that. If you believe that, I have some beachside property in the Sahara to sell to you. I think he's just finally done. I know that a lot.
I want to ask this: why didn't Cole go shopping during the winter? Because he absolutely knew there was issues when no one else was getting paid. Yeah, he was lucky because he most likely had an official employee-employer contract that obligated them to pay. But why didn't he think like 4 months ago, hey, let me at least look for some other.
He might have. Because I
But
heard
you really think he didn't find anything good enough and then hope for the best? I don't think he's gotten paid this year. Because
maybe.
I don't, because well, we're gonna explain next why I think he hasn't gotten paid this year.
Right. So look, by the way, as of now, from what I've heard, he's not signed with Mugen. Some people say he has. I heard there's some other brands that might be in the mix too, beginning with an X, ending with a Y. And we'll see. I mean, it wouldn't. So let me just digress why I think him going to Mugen would be a good move. Right? Cole used to run the car. He saw success. There's no doubt that he's a very popular character in RC in the Southeast, around the world. You know, everybody knows Cole Ogden. He's done well for HB. I think you go to the Southeast and areas like that, HB is a huge car, huge in popularity. It's huge over there in Australia. It's huge over there in New Zealand, all that type of stuff. Not saying Cole affects that. They just like the car. It's a good car. They appreciate it. I've heard lots of complaints about the new car, right? Especially from the top pros. He doesn't seem to like it. But here's why I think Cole going to Mugen would be a good choice. Because Mugen needs a driver, or probably, I know the Mugenites out there will say it. Well, out there, no, we don't. But Mugen kind of needs a driver that's going to get in the A-mains and can do well and can fight for that. The Southeast used to have a very big Mugen community. You know, very big. When I first started getting into the JQ racing thing, Mugen was big in the Southeast, and it was big prior to that. It's lost a bit of a foothold in the Southeast, which in my opinion is probably one of the, if not the biggest regions in America. And
I think so.
I think that Cole Ogden going to Mugen would be great for them on that sense. Yes, Adam Drake is a great ambassador and he does a lot of things.
He's in the West. It's not the same.
Yeah, and he does not come to he doesn't come to the Southeast much. He comes for the race time events. But no offense to Drake, he can still make an A-main and all that type of stuff. He's still a great driver, great ambassador, going around doing his clinics and stuff. That's all great. But I think that Cole would be a great choice for Mugen. Why? He's not going to be very expensive. Like, that's one of the main reasons that Mayfield left, because Mugen didn't want to pay him. And just by the way, I was explaining how Mugen works. Mugen USA is a completely separate entity to the other Mugen companies. Mugen Japan, Mugen Europe. And I think it would be a good choice to actually get him to race that. And Cole can run 10 scale, He can run 10 scale, and he could go they have that new car. We just saw Drake was doing some laps with it. So I think actually, if he was to go to Mugen, it would be a good choice, right? Yeah. For Mugen and for him. Now, if he goes to the other brand that ends with an X and a Y, which I heard somehow is thrown into the mix here too, he did well with his boy Ronafalk, right? And
yeah, I think if he goes to Ronafalk, because I know when Ronafalk moved away from HB, Cole tried to follow. Cole wanted to follow. And I know for a fact that he really appreciates David and likes to hang out with him. And now with David going to races more often in the US, X-Ray does not have any top US drivers. I think it's a fit.
I do too. I thought Cav, because he does 8 scale and 10 scale. But now see, damn it, I'm supposed to be retired from silly season.
Yeah, I know. I'm enjoying this. You're like,
I'm here sucked in once again. I blame you, Max. I'm supposed to be retired from silly season. Not supposed to be talking about. Not supposed to be worried about it. But once again, it draws me back in.
Yeah, you're like one of those old footballers who are still on the field at 50. Because you just love the game.
I'm like Pepe.
Yeah, that's like Pepe. Okay, I want to make a quick point before we go into away from coal. I think this has been the TMC. I'm gonna bring the Reuters just in a bit, but I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna grab onto your TMZ still for a bit. I think Mugen would be a really good fit because of the fact that Mugen doesn't really want a driver who can win every race like Mayfield. It was proven that doesn't help them a lot. Mm-hmm. But what they do need is drivers like Drake and Ogden, People's Champ, and the nicest guy at the Pics titles. Ain't that a fucking perfect duo of like that type of aspect for the brand?
Yin and yang.
And for sure, Cole could turn into this influencer type character. He's done videos on his YouTube channel. He's tried that. I think he has the tools to do that. Be like an East Coast Drake, but I mean a little bit cooler, but like East Coast Drake in like the very long run. Because I don't think, he's not like a testman who's there to win and not really much else. He's there to have fun. I think he's held a lot of those clinics. He likes to help people around the pits.
He has a following.
Mugen, he has a following, yeah. So I think he would have been a perfect fit for Mugen. But I think himself, he absolutely loves David Ronnefolk, He wants the Vikings. So I think he's going to at least try to go to extra. I think that would be his first choice. I think Mugen is easier card to start out with when you don't have a brand.
That's if Mugen wants him, because I still heard that Mugen isn't interested. Mugen's kind of fine where they are, but they did lose a foothold in the Southeast. Not saying there's not still people running it, but not as much as they used to. I think either of those two companies are, if he's not going to stay at HB, because it's not confirmed that he's out at HB as of yet.
It's possible, but I think it doesn't make sense for neither of the parties. So
yeah, I just can't get this. I can't fathom why. And then I can't fathom why you would let him run another car like openly.
Yeah.
But I think the writing's on the wall with that. I think he's out. And I mean, what?
He's not happy with the car. They don't have money to pay him, and he's running another car. So why would you continue? That's like being married to someone and both of you guys are cheating and you absolutely hate each other, and then you're like, let's not get divorced,
Yeah.
Same type of situation.
It's just weird. I mean, damn, silly season. All right, enough RC TMZ. Let's get into some
RC Reuters.
What's this? Reuters? What's that?
Reuters is like one of the most respected journalist institutions. They report like from wars and stuff. Like a lot of like New York Times and a lot of these very big media houses use them.
Dude, I do not follow any type of news. So there we go.
Yeah.
That shows
if
how
you
much
don't know Reuters. If you don't know Reuters, I think that's like tells that you don't follow news.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably heard the name, but I thought you said Reuters. Like, why are we having a Reut rage or something? All right.
Okay. Now, why Cole left HB? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's bring that up.
So this is public data about European companies. Neidhart SA, which owns HB Racing, all of their brands, Performa, Orion. You can notice this lick, and you soon see what that means. This was brought up in 2006, I think. Philip Neidhart, obviously the president. There was this separate company called Neidhart International, but during COVID, I'm assuming it ran into some financial issues because you couldn't transport stuff as frequently, so they just merged the two into one or acquired it under Neidhart SA. And here you can see insolvency initiation. So on the 15th of January in 2024, so this year, they have begun insolvency proceedings, provisional initiation on 15th of January, and liquidation has happened or started at 19th of January. So on the 30th of January, everything is pretty much done, like it's done. Okay. There's the whole Neidhart SA is being liquidated. Basically, the bank owns it, and yeah, that's it.
Okay. So
And yeah, that's
this
what's happening with Neidhart. You can give your comment. I will follow up with some other stuff that I
Sorry,
did some
my microphone keeps
journalism work for.
So basically, they're filing for bankruptcy.
Liquidation means that
Yes.
bank tries to find all of the debt owed and then consumes all the debt of the company. So basically bankruptcy. Yeah.
This is why my buddy was sent a letter saying that he was owed some money, which was resolved. Which was resolved very funny after I posted about it in my Patreon Monday night. It was resolved the next morning because he had tried to email them countless times and they wouldn't get back to him. So I'm glad that worked. Not saying we did it, but maybe it was just a long Easter break.
So basically what we're talking about, one of Neidhart's distributors, dealers, they got sent a letter by the Geneva Chamber of Commerce, which is Neidhart was based in Geneva, that they owed money to them because the Geneva Chamber of Commerce obviously has assumed all of the owed debt to Neidhart and so on.
Okay,
but
so now
that's
what
not all.
really happened
That's
in
not all. So what appears to me, because I contacted obviously people I knew within the industry, maybe selling HP, people around the industry who know stuff like this. And apparently Neidhart isn't going down easy. And there's another company, okay? This one is called Team Orion Europe SA. And as you see, wordmark HP, wordmark HMX, this has happened in 2017. They have registered design batteries. From what I understood, they have, obviously they have the same address. Everything is the same, you know, in terms of the people there. They have almost exactly the same, you know, structure of the company as the Neidhart has, and they are very much tied to each other. Basically, what it seems like, this is now a little bit of speculation part, but what it seems like is all of the business is moved under this Team Orion Europe SA. All the HP products have been shipping out, I've heard, and from what I understand, nothing has changed for dealers, at least from in Europe, except for the bank account they pay to, which is under this company. Obviously, my sources will want to remain anonymous, and but I do have to say they are quite reliable sources. And this is what seems to be happening. So basically, this is my guess. Neidhart ran into a lot of financial trouble, defaulted, liquidated, moved all their assets, patents, and so on, or sold all their assets and patents in the liquidation process to this Team Orion Europe, and they will try to continue their project under that company. Why this company? Because by far Orion's biggest sales is in RTR batteries. Any RTR car you pretty much have has some type of Orion battery. A lot of them have Orion, you know, electronics. Hobbywing these days, but in part also electronics was Orion. The batteries are everywhere, you know, their batteries are absolutely everywhere. And this is a very big part of their sales. They can move thousands of units, you know, in a very short amount of time, compared to like HP, which is a very, very small brand compared to Orion. And Performa is even smaller, So I assume this is why they would change it under this brand, because this company is most likely financially very stable. Apart, like Neidhart obviously had HB, these brands that most likely were suffering a bit of a loss, and now they're starting from a clean slate. And if I was starting from a clean slate, I know for sure I probably wouldn't be hiring Cole Ogden. Not because of anything in particular, but this company is based in Switzerland and Cole Ogden is in America. So that's
in that saying, I've been contacted by people in America that say we can't get parts. I've been contacted by people who are maybe regional team managers who said they're tired of it. It's going on, chips going on. I don't know what to expect out of HB at this point. I mean, Jessica Paulson was here this past weekend. She was rocking her HB gear. There was people who had HB in there. HB's definitely lost a big foothold in Europe. That was a discussion between me and a couple of guys from Austria, how they're seeing so many HB cars on sale. Basically, people don't like the new car, and stuff like that. And let's not the whole car is antiquated, like compared to what it is now,
Oh, the gearboxes are like 15 years old.
Someone told me it's worse than working on a JQ car the other day.
That's tough.
That's tough.
I mean, I think the HB gearboxes are actually older than the JQ gearboxes.
Right. No, but the older car still does good. People still seem to like it. But I get what's going on with HB. This would be also probably why they downsized to that smaller building and all that stuff. But haven't they done something like this before or something similar?
Yeah, so this was during COVID. And so what I showed you, like end of June of 2021, this is when the Neidhart International was acquired by Neidhart, just Neidhart. Okay. So I'm assuming the Neidhart International was suffering a loss, and then it was acquired within the big
all right, so
and now the whole process kind of went down, and now they're moving the team around Europe.
So in your opinion, what happens? Is HB still gonna be a thing? Is this it? Will they lose a big chunk? I think they lose a big chunk of drivers, not just because of this, just also because of the lack of development with the car. I mean, I haven't heard from Torrens de Guzman or anything about him.
It depends
in years,
I think. Yeah, but because from what I understand, he lives in the Philippines.
Right.
Isn't that right? Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. He is Filipino.
From what I understand, he lives in the Philippines, designs the cars, but I do not know if he has been on HB or Neidhart payroll, or if he will be in the future, or like what's happening with him. But if he's let go and he doesn't have any sort of work contact with Neidhart, I think it basically means that HB will try to survive with what they have, try to make new parts and sell them, keep it somewhat up, but for sure it will become like much more. I think they will definitely try to keep it up, but I don't think they're gonna remain a force. But it depends, because this kind of gives them a clean slate. I doubt that they are starting with a lot of depth. I think they're starting with quite a clean slate, and I think they are. I think they can do things, but I think they also realize now that the market is so inflated, you can't do what you did at the beginning of 2010s.
No.
So they have to revamp their strategy, and I think they're gonna let all of their paid drivers go. They're gonna only keep, because Paulson sells HB too. It's not like Paulson runs them and then gets paid by them. They're a dealer as well.
Well, I do know this, that dealer. I have talked to a dealer and he is trying to order parts and kits and has no ETA when he'll be able to order them.
Well, this is one thing, because I do not know why that is the case, because within Europe, it seems like everything is functioning as normal. At least, I don't know specifically if they're running out of HB parts. Like, it could be that they just don't have parts for the cars or stuff like that, or they don't have kits. but the operation in general seems to be working within Europe.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you know what I think is going to happen after this? I think we're going to get a cease and desist. I'll probably be arrested.
I think we have been fair and we have framed it quite well if we've been speculating.
But this is all public knowledge, too.
And yeah, everything we said was public knowledge and the rest of it was speculation and, well, a few anonymous sources, but, you know.
Yeah, I feel it coming. Next time I come to Europe, I'm going to be arrested.
Yeah, you know, a few Swiss guys are going to show up with a fucking gold bar in their pocket and a gun, you know? Because that's what Swiss guys always have, a gold bar in their pocket and a gun.
Really? I never heard that before. But
no, Swiss people are rich and they fucking love guns, so.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I know they're rich, but well off. I don't know what the future holds for HB. But I'm in the USA on that side. I can see once because like once people can't get parts, that is the nail in the coffin.
Talk about TLR right now. People are fucking trolling them.
Yeah, I mean, look at TLR. Like, oh god, here comes another cease and desist. Anyway, yeah, you know how it is with people with parts, and it's going to be very interesting. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if Cole Ogden's going to. I don't know. That all that stuff about Ogden is speculation about where he's going. I do know that he's running a Mugen chassis this weekend at.
That's the TMZ part of this podcast.
That I do, but I do know that he's running a Mugen at.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll run a Mugen, and then if he doesn't like it, he'll run an HP. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe maybe he's just like running whatever he wants. But it sounds like your girlfriend's like, see, I told you we're not going to be done in an hour and a half, but we're going to be done her soon. So it sounds like HB will live to fight another day. But with so many chassis brands, with so many cars that are getting updated up there, they are going to be well behind the 8 ball on this. And people, it's going to be hard to gain that trust again, you know?
Yeah, I'm wondering because also from HB's standpoint, like, what is their future like? Because they had HPI, that all went fucked at one point. They had like Orion and Race stuff. Well, Oscar Janssen isn't there anymore, so they probably won't have any Race stuff.
One of the reasons that we saw Ronald Falcon Adrian leave was because they thought this was going to happen.
Yeah, and they was right. They did the absolutely the right decision when they left. But yeah, because I think, like, I don't understand what they could do. Like, are they just gonna transfer into RTR batteries / sometimes tires and stuff like this, or what are they gonna actually do? It's very interesting to see. But yeah, it's a wild situation.
Yes, and back to silly season, we heard it here on the podcast that if Cole Ogden does go to either one of those companies, you heard it. Damn it, silly season. Yeah. Damn it. Enough about silly season. Enough about this. You know what? Not throwing me back in again. I'm telling you, I'm out. Yeah. I'm retired from silly season.
Let's do an ad read so we can get rid of this negative.
All right. Negative silly season. So let's get on to our final. Well, we have 2 more segments to go. Up next is the Corsatec USA race preview. Corsatec USA is your one-stop shop for all things Corsatec. You can now purchase all the Corsatec range of products for nitro and electric powered systems and accessories used by world and European champions David Ronnefalk and Robert Battier. Established in 2022, Corsatec was founded by Adrian Bertin and Oscar Janssen. Funny, we just talked about them. It is made by racers for racers, all available in the USA. You can find a link for Corsatec USA in the written description below. All right, so for a little bit of what I'm doing this weekend and why I'm not at PNB, I'm actually going to the 1/8 scale electric buggy, IFMAR Electric Buggy World Cup being held April 5th to 7th at the ACDP OSE Bero. I'm going to butcher this. Biaros. I'm not going to say that. Need chemo here to help me out with that. Guarda, Portugal. So basically, from the way I understand it, is that before there can be a world championship, there has to be a World Cup. I mean, obviously, 10 scale and 8 scale world championships have been around a longer time than We've been into RC, but I know in recent times we've seen the GT class go through this. This is not an official world championship. This is just like a warm-up to the official world championship. It's supposed to meant to see that the federation can handle the whole thing. And probably an archaic rule from back in the day that probably needs to be done away with and just go straight into a world championship. We know that the Portuguese Federation can handle it. The actual as we talked earlier, the actual 2025 EBuggy World Championship will be held here in Barcelos. I know that James is coming from so RC Racing TV was working alongside with the local Portuguese guys here this past weekend. So RC Racing TV was doing the virtual stuff. And then James is coming over, and then obviously they'll do it. Unfortunately, the entry count is not looking too big. It's going to be a lot of Portuguese guys. Obviously, it's also the same weekend as PNB, but they have to have it, right? I'm looking forward to going to a different part of Portugal. I'm looking forward to going to be a part of this. You know, EBuggy pays the bills, and it will next year. And kudos to the Portuguese Federation for seeing this through, even though they know not a lot of people coming. I know last year they had to cancel it. Ryan Lutz was going to come. He isn't going to come this year. This track has hosted the 2010 Afro European Championships. It's up in Guarda. It's up at altitude a little bit. I'm looking forward to going there, seeing it, and being a part of it. Look forward to some videos from me and whatever I can get out there. I think I saw somewhere said Orlowski might be coming. I'm not sure. I do not know who's coming. I could be wrong about Orlowski. I'm looking forward to I don't know. I don't know.
I hope at least the top Portuguese guys come.
Well, yeah, Montero, Figueiredo is going. Y'all was looking good on his EBuggy. And of course, I think a lot of the top, like Duras and those guys are coming. So it'll be good. The weather looks pretty good as well. So that's a good thing. And I'm looking forward to it, you know. So basically, I was planning on going to PNB. These guys had asked me if I could do both. I said no at first. Then we found out that Live RC was going to do the coverage at PNB, and I was like, well, I guess I'm not really. I mean, I know Elite RC Productions is going there. They're doing some stuff. You're going to be working alongside of them. I would have done the same thing, but I'm going to this race. I'm going to enjoy my weekend in a different part of Portugal, and you guys can watch my reels, and I'm going to try and do some video and all that type of stuff while I'm there. And it's also 5 hours ahead of the East Coast, so it's kind of gonna not interrupt with PNB. I think by the time this is done, PNB is gonna be like, you're still gonna be able to go watch PNB. So tune in RC Racing TV this weekend. I'll be there doing the commentating. Come join me in the chat. Let's have some fun and talk RC. And thank you also to the Federation and the Figueiredo family and everybody for bringing me here for that. I greatly appreciate being a part of this. But up next is the big Mama Jama, the big kahuna, the Psycho Nitro Blast. So I was with Dave a couple of weeks ago. We went up to see him, picked up something from him. He's all excited. We was talking about PNB. He was like, so Lefties. He didn't even know I wasn't coming. When he found out I wasn't coming, he was like, what? You're not coming? I was like, no, man, I want to come. The boys are there. I was just talking to Lance this morning, and Lance and the Elite crew made their way up there. Live RC's doing all the coverage. Scotty, and I heard a new commentator is going to be there with him. So I'm interested to see how they do. I did have the opportunity to work with Live RC last year on this race with Scotty. It was a pleasure to work with him. Learned a lot from him. But happening this week, 17th iteration of this race. So this race is getting more popular. But then what really, 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 really piqued my interest was Ronafel going to this race. He said he might go. He wasn't sure. But I think this is the biggest name in Europe to go to this race. I know Dave's happy about it. I think it's going to be great for the Southeast racers to get to see him race. And I'm not going to lie, I think he's going to do very well there.
Yeah, I didn't do very well when I went. I made the main.
Because you didn't run Truggy.
Yeah, the Truggy, you know what happened with my Truggy?
That actually started off fight at PNB.
Yeah, I forgot to put a zip tie around the air filter on my Truggy. Ran it for 2 laps, flamed out at the front straight, engine was full of fucking dirt, and I was like, fuck Truggy, because right at that point, my EBuggy was still in pieces. and the electronics didn't work for some reason. And then I had some old one from JQ, which didn't work. So I was in full crisis mode. So I was like, fuck Truggy. Like, and it also sucked on the track. I don't know what I did wrong with the setup.
All this coming from the guy who's designing a Truggy.
Yeah, well, that one was shit. It was the
JQ's old associated car.
Yeah,
that
was bad. I don't understand how it was so bad. But yeah, that was my Truggy career. But in buggy, actually Nitro buggy, I wasn't that bad.
Yeah, you made the win. You got blasted by Drake.
Yeah, Drake fucking took me out. But I think I qualified like 10th, something like that.
You almost also caused a whole big fight at PNB.
Oh yeah, this was the average Joe one. When
oh my goodness gracious!
I'm sorry, Joe. That was probably one of my first interactions with Joe Bornhorst, and he was about to come through our fucking tent to punch me.
Oh my! When you said that, so here's a little context about this. So we was at this race 2018, because this is how I got to this race, and I got a message.
It was 2019.
Was it 2019?
Yeah, 2019. It was the year I did RCGP, which was.
Right. Okay, so anyway, there was a year that I found out my wife was pregnant with my daughter. It was the year after my daughter had already been born, but we had a big giant JQ pit. We took up a whole entire side of that stadium, and it's a big stadium there. And I was with JB sitting in the stands, and he was flying his drone around, which I now own, by the way. And he almost hit. I'm not gonna lie. He almost hit. He was trying to get a close up of the drivers, and he like almost. I'm laughing now. I know it wasn't a laughing matter at the time, but he almost hit Bornhorst, and Bornhorst what? And all rights. Bornhorst was pissed. So that caused a whole. Now, if you know JB is like 5'4", and he is crazy. So that started a whole kerfuffle with him and Bornhorst. JB got disqualified, which is cool. And then
JB fucking didn't race. Anyway, I have never seen him actually probably drive, and I've seen him multiple times at races. But yeah, better.
After all this kerfuffle, and rightfully so, Joe Bornhorst is pissed off. He's running techno now, and as he walks across our pits, everybody's quiet because JB's there, and you little bastard. Yeah, like I think he was like 18 when you did this.
No, he had some type of argument with JB.
No. He didn't argue with anybody. He walked across and he was angry looking at all of us, and then you just go, "Average Joe," and I just went, like I just did a proverbial fucking like face palm like this, and I was just like, Max, that was not the time. Man, he stopped, and I think he wanted to come at you, but I think he thought like Max is too young. And then I think Mike Hill was there, and I was there, and I was just like, Mike Hill started arguing with him, and I just was like, I'm gonna walk around her because I think Joe is going to maul somebody in this pit, and I just want to stop him from doing that. But luckily, none of that happened. I did have to. It was tense. It was very tense, but luckily, we're all cool with Joe now. It was fun. Yeah. Now we can look back and laugh on it. It was fun. But Max, Jesus, don't ever do that again, man. I felt like just saying, if I could have slapped you, I would have slapped you. Like I would have done it but I was that's not the time, Max. But anyway, he was there
arguing with someone because
he didn't. I remember that
he was kind of like a.
No, he argued with Mike after you said. I remember. Oh no. I remember this because I was ready to just stop him from hitting you, right?
Well, at least he was like huffing and puffing. I remember that much.
He was mad. He was rightfully mad.
Yeah,
he came across and he was screw facing everybody. He didn't say anything. He just screw faced everybody. You said average Joe, and you had your high pitched voice, average Joe, and I was just like, anyway, enough about that. PNB, one of the biggest. PNB, one of the biggest races. Yeah, it was very bad, Max. PNB, one of the biggest races in the world. They got it going this weekend. I was just talking to Lance. They're working on the track. They had a little hiccup in one of the machines. They're fixing it up. it's gonna. I was talking to Dave. He said no wall rides, no joker lanes this year. Just a very technical track.
No joker lanes.
No
Fuck
joker
yes.
lanes.
I fucking hated the joker lane because they did it the wrong way, and they did it like 3 years in a row. And we said about it every single time. And these motherfuckers.
Well, you think that the joker lane should be give you less time, give you more time, and you do it once. I agree with that. But he said just a super technical track. We know pretty much all the big names are gonna go there now, like they go every year. Last year we saw Dakota Fenn and Mason Fuller have a good battle. Last year they had the joker lane, and I thought Mason Fuller was gonna get his first nitro win. So it was actually last year it was Fenn, Fuller, and Brandon Rose who finished your top 3. So this is gonna be. I'm anxiously waiting for the track to be finished. I haven't heard if there's going to be a long jump competition, which is bad. He hasn't had it in 2 years, but Lade's always got something.
When I was in the shower 2 days ago, I was thinking because I was thinking about the fucking long jump, because I don't remember seeing the videos from last year or the year before. I think the last one was actually like when I was there, or did they have it into 2020 or 2021? Because I don't really remember. I just remember Joe Bornhorst having this truggy chassis with buggy arms, I think, and then he had like foam tires on or something ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And then that thing fucking flew. It went all the way down to the field.
Dude, it
all
is
the way over the. Yeah.
No, they had an electric car that had a rocket on it.
Yeah.
Right, and we had our car set up with a rocket. My car, actually.
Yeah, but
my nitro car,
the motor engine wasn't on.
But the rocket didn't kick in. Tony Carscala was trying to do it, and then
I don't know what's been wrong.
We had a big rocket on it. I think it's great. I like that. I know this is race times. This is like their jewel. They love this race. Dave puts a lot into it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing the track. I know that, like I said, we have Live RC doing the coverage, which should be good. We have Elite there. Danny's there. He's going to be taking pictures. I know Jacob also takes a lot of pictures. I heard my buddy Kevin's LaChapelle's going to be there doing some pictures for JC. I'm happy for him. I know he's been working on his photo skills for some time now. He told me today he's going. Lance is the RD. They're doing block practice. This is the first time they did it. He's been trying to get block practice.
Can you pull it up?
Oh my gosh!
I wanna talk about it. And this is gonna
not talk about this for 10 minutes? Can we just leave this briefly?
Yeah. Okay, so just to quickly tell how it works, there's Sportsman, Pro, and Intermediate. So they will do it in a way where they have blocks and they separate by skill level. Absolutely brilliant. This should be done at every single race with open practice. No matter if you have over 50 entries, it'd be probably done. They do block practice as with the schedule. So they start at 10 a.m. to 1:30 with Sportsman. Then they do Pro from 2 to 4. And then they do Intermediate from 4:30 to 7. And then from 8 onwards through the night, the usual PNB style, you have open practice. This is, in my opinion, good. This is how it should have been like 10 years ago, and I'm happy they're doing this. And I think it shows many events in America. For example, like the Florida Carpet Championship, you remember the lines that Martin Bayer posted and so on. I think they did different last year. I can't remember, but we all have seen those lines. Roar Nats, I think, even had those lines as well at one point.
Well, they have that on like open practice day. So
yeah.
That actually goes to the track. That what all funds for that go to the track. That's not a part of the Raw Nationals.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but so 90% good. I think this is definitely a good improvement. I think each and every one who are going to go there are going to like it. Maybe some sportsmen are going to complain because the sportsmen are first. I think it should actually be that the pros are first, because those are the guys who probably can take the day off. Sportsmen are the least likely probably to take the day off. I don't know, but anyway, I think it's it's the better way to go by far.
So Lance has been doing this now. He did it last year. He did it at North Georgia Shootout, RC Pro-Am, Peach State, and then Fall Brawl, and people absolutely love it.
Yeah,
they love it.
I think it's great because like the best thing about this is that you don't really like you can stay at the track for like what was it, 5 hours or 4 hours for sportsman and intermediate, and then 2 hours for pro. So it's like you go to the track, you prepare your cars, and then you get all them ready, and then you go and drive. I do have a little bit of criticism for this, but I think it's a very small one. Yeah. So this is obviously not gonna take away all of the waiting in line, because they're still.
They know this. Lance knows this.
Yeah. So I am still. I think this is 100% the way to go, because because now you're going from 800 people to, I think there's around 200 or 4. Like I think sportsman was the biggest, so there's probably like 300-400 sportsmen, and then 200 like intermediate or 250 intermediate, and then like maybe 100 pro entries or something like that. No, a bit more maybe 150 pro entries. So you're cutting down from 800 to these smaller blocks. Makes total sense. Now the only downside to this is if I had 2 hours of practice for 4 different classes when I went to this race, I'd be fucking, like that's 5 minutes per class. You'd have 20 minutes. So you pretty much only get two maximum 3 practice sessions per car, and you get absolutely no time for setup changes. So you see what I mean there? You're on mute.
Yeah, but you get that afternoon session too.
No, but that's
you might not get you might get up there more than that, and because you're gonna last lines to Radian.
No, but I'm meaning like, because if you do just basic math, pro track is open from 2 to 4. Okay, so track is only open from 2 to 4. So if I run 4 classes and each session is 5 minutes, if I don't have to wait in line at all, it's gonna take 20 minutes to run all my 4 classes once. Okay, so within 2 hours, if you have no line at all, and you just pretty much stay on the driver's stand the whole time, you can maximum get 6 runs per class. Obviously,
yeah, but it has to be
possible.
this way because of the amount of interest. It has to be.
Yeah, I know. But my thing here is that considering that you have to wait in line for each time at least once, you will have 40 minutes per class, and that already goes to 3. You get maximum 3 runs per class. Okay, you get 2 runs at DNC per class. Okay, here you get maximum 3 runs per class, and on top of this, if you do that, you get 3 runs. You get absolutely no time to make a setup change. So if you plan on to make a setup change, you can get, if you're really fast with your setup changes, you can get most likely 2, maybe 3 runs per class. I think what will happen is most people will only run Nitro Buggy or Nitro Chuggy, or like they will pick 1 or 2 classes that they run and they don't practice anything else, because 2 hours is a short time.
Yeah, but you know what? I think you're right about that. Most people do Nitro Buggy, but you know what? What time does the block practice stop?
It stops at the block. If you want to go to the free session, it's 8 p.m. and onwards.
Oh, plenty of time. And people,
sure, but it's still kind of the. I mean, I understand it's not a big issue. I understand. Okay, it's not like I think this.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes. No long lines, no 45-minute waits, all that type of stuff. I don't do well. No people standing in line for pros and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The pro guys,
and also in my opinion, the absolute number one thing is that you are not driving there with a Nitro Buggy, like trying to do pro level laps, and then you have a fucking novice short course driver driving to the wrong direction.
There, Max. But that's
when I went, there was. I remember this fucking kid running a short course, like not even doing the jumps. When
Well,
I went, there was short course.
Well, that's the good thing about it is that you practice with people of equal level.
Yeah,
especially for the pro guys, because that's a big complaint from them, right?
Yeah,
and I know people can say, "Well, it's not about the pros," but yeah, those guys have money on the line, right?
Yeah,
most of them, so they want to get out there and practice with people on the same level as them, and this allows that. Now, as for these people, have from 8 to 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, the next morning, to go practice some sessions. You can go at 8. They finish at 6. They can do some wrenching. They can go home and go get some food, go sleep. They can come back at 2 in the morning and go practice. They're not up first. So I think I think it's going to be well received. I do see where you're coming from with that, but at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's not going to be a lot of people out there, or 2 o'clock in the morning.
No, I
guarantee you.
Compared to previous years, like I said, I think it's 100 times better. You avoid all the short courses and, well, okay, there's not short courses anymore, but you avoid the pro and sportsman running at the same time. Bear in mind, there's 20 cars at the track. You know, they fit always 20 people in the stand.
Yeah.
So like it's a lot, it's packed. So I think that already is big enough reason. And on top of that, you don't have to be at the track for 2 hours. You can go eat, go look at beautiful Tennessee, all the trailer parks around there, and then you can come back
trailer
at
parks
night.
around there.
Yes, there is, dude.
Not around where we was. Not around where we was.
Well, I remember when that was fucking trailer park heaven.
No, you had an obsession with trailer parks, just like I have an obsession with alligators.
Yeah, but anyway, I think this is 100 times better. But I think still there are better ways to do it. Granted that it would require some extra thing like some sort of system, but I think there are better ways to do it. I've talked about it before. I'm not going to go into it now. But I think anyone who like goes there, they're gonna like it more this year than ever before.
Yes. People that have been to the races that has been done absolutely love it. Love it.
Yeah, I think this is like, if you do open practice, I think this should be the bare minimum, absolute bare minimum.
All right, enough about that. Which is great. I'm happy to see that. Kudos to today for allowing it to happen. And Lance came up with it. Great idea. I'm pretty sure he has something to say about your criticism, but that's all right. Let's get on to the nitty-gritty. We got another big race coming up. This is our third big race of the year. I'm counting. So as I'm counting 3, I'm counting SIC, Montpellier, yes, European race, but it was a big race. And of course, we have the DNC, which just happened a few weeks ago. And all of these races, well, besides Montpellier, so this is the third race on the NNRC Cup. I actually have something to play before we get it. If you haven't heard about the NNRC Cup, you'll know about it right now as soon as oh no. So where's my oh, you know what? I think I uploaded it to the wrong brand. What an idiot I am. Anyway, I'll upload it now and we will go from there. So let's talk about this, Max. Runafault going, all these times. So here's the thing. A lot of guys are going to be looking for revenge after DNC.
What if, okay. What if Runafault wins? There would be one out of, like, there's been 3 big races. Like, this would be the 3rd big race in American soil this year. And what if European would have won 2 of them? I don't know. Those motherfuckers.
I don't know if you'll shut up.
Yeah, I mean, but I think some people might feel like physically ill after that. Americans, like at that point, I think these guys will have to, change their car, like speedometers to kilometers an hour, all this stuff, because like there's no excuses. Like instead of saying
they have to start using Celsius as well.
Yeah. Instead of saying 72, you're gonna be using 20. Americans like, what? What is a kilometer? And like, yeah, dude, if Runafault wins, I mean, I think I kind of like wish he would win just for the sake of saying that American is being beaten more times on home soil than they've won, this year in our
Well, that is definitely some points, the good points right there. And I hope that with Runafault coming over, we start to see more Europeans coming over. And I was talking to a lot of guys at this race. Everybody wants to come over for AMS. Weekend's a good race too, but it's in the middle of it's actually in the middle of the season. And don't forget, after this, people go to Silver State, and a lot of guys are going, including Ronald Falk. So
Yeah.
And you know what? I think Ronald Falk can win this? Absolutely. I think he can win at least one class, and I definitely think he can run pro buggy. But it will be interesting because Ronald Falk's never been to one of these big Southeast races indoors. He will be on completely open tire.
Yeah.
So he can run whatever he wants.
That's going to be, I think, for David, number one is he's been probably running more 8 scale between like this beginning of the year that he's been running for the past 2 because he's been like doing a lot of races.
Mm-hmm.
When Canas went here, he was on HotRace, you know.
Well, he went AMS. He went AMS.
AMS is better for HotRace, but still he went with HotRace. David can go any tire he wants.
Anytime. If Pro Line's good, he'll go on that. If Ogo is good, he'll go on that.
Yeah.
Whatever tire he wants.
J Concepts, considering. But
yeah, J Concepts.
The car is good on tracks like this. Testament won a few years back.
Yep. 2021, I want to say he won.
I think so, yeah.
Yep.
So anything to that? I think Ronald Falk, if he, like, because he was so good at DNC, I think this could be even better race for him, considering all the advantages he has.
Yeah, and he's got confidence now. And he has confidence, more confidence.
He has confidence, and also, like, personally, when I went to PNB, it's a really easy race because it doesn't get so blown out. Like, it's a very, at least when I went,
not like DNC blown out.
Yeah, it doesn't get DNC blown out. So it's kind of easy because all you have to do is make a car that's kind of comfortable, that has quite a bit of corner speed. The track's like really grippy. So like, if you have the good tires and you're kind of comfortable, you're good. Like even Montpellier is more difficult for David than I think PNB will be, because Montpellier is a really tricky layout. It's really hard to master. You have to be precise. You can't make mistakes, but you still have to be fast. But they like American tracks in general are, in my opinion, a bit easier to go fast for a European. Because I mean, you know how to go fast, but in Europe you just have to go like all the balls to the wall.
Well, let's see what type of layout Bobby puts in. It might be have a lot of corner speed. We never know.
Yeah, I think like the most difficult for a European to go to America is most likely like southeast when they use calcium, or then like the west when it's absolutely blown out.
Well, all right. So we both agree that we think Ronald could win this race, or definitely win some 1 or 2 classes, or definitely win a class. I'm not sure if it's going to run each. So they don't have pro e-trug yet. They have open e-trug, but some pros do run it. But let's talk about people that I think can win this and want to win this. And there's people out there that that probably want to get a result. So as I said, Dakota Fenn won last year. Mason Fuller right behind him. B-Rose also in third. So coming out of DNC, Dakota Fenn was fast in third.
Yeah.
Mayfield did not have a good DNC. He finished 8th, I think. 10th, sorry. B Rose had a decent 6th. Bornhorst looked good at DNC as well. He's been good at PNB. Mason Fuller. Can we see Mason Fuller get that a proverbial monkey off his back and take his big nitro buggy win? He did win Truggy here last year dominantly. He was on her. He said that he loves PNB, and he's very good at it. Tyler Jones in the sparkly Sparko was very good at SIC. Her recently taking a TQ. Cavs going up. Can he make the main? He should.
Yeah, he should. There's 22 cars in the main, 18 cars in the main.
18 cars in the main.
He damn right should make the main.
He better make the main. I see TZO's going there. I think Nick's going there. So they're going there in big force. Cole with the Mugen. Like, what if he goes out there and just fucking kicks ass? Like, how awesome would that be? So it's a lot of different storylines going into this. But you know what? This is also the 3rd race for the pros of the NNRC Cup. And if you guys don't know what the NNRC Cup is, give me a second. You'll know what it is. right now after these words.
NNRC Cup for 2024. It is back, the virtual series, and we can't wait. Back in 2021, Max and I, the NNRC Cup, it was a virtual series, and Ryan Mayfield won it. He even gave him a trophy. Well, he didn't keep it. Took it back. It's only for Nitro Buggy. We're going to include the intermediate and sportsman class. We're kind of focused on the Southeast due to the fact that we have the 4 race time events plus the 2 Mark Moon races. And then, of course, we have Brent's 2 races that are all indoors guaranteed races. Intermediate and sportsman Nitro guys will get 3 drops from those races. And then on the pro class, it's going to be SIC, DNC, PNB, Silver State, Wicked Weekend, Nationals, AMS, and we might throw in the Worlds. Depends where it goes. And they will get 1 drop. So the point is to determine a champion via points. This is just a point series. We're having fun. We might even give trophies to somebody. It's also going to be based on Supercross points. So it's going to be the top 22 out of each race. I'm thinking about doing a West Coast one, but we're looking for potential races. I think TNR might be a good race. DNC, obviously. Silver State, so we might do that as well. We are open for suggestions. Also, I would like to say is that we might even do a European one. Depends how many Europeans come over and race over here. So we'll see what happens. All this is to have fun, give talking points. We'll talk about it. Those who are old school NNRC listeners will remember the NNRC Cup. I hope you guys enjoy it. And, hey, we got people taking these points serious. So, hey, next roundup is PNB.
Yeah, that's my 90-second commercial that you refused to let Danny play. But yeah, we have the NNRC Cup. Obviously, this is going to be points for this going in. I believe the Dakota Fan is leading this at the moment, followed by Brandon Rose. On the intermediate side, we see okay. So do we have it here, Max? Can you bring it up?
Yeah.
So go to this button right here, Max. Make that enlarged. Make it all enlarged right there.
What the hell? Why can't I? Oh no. Now we're good. I can make it even bigger.
Okay.
Now this is the max.
Okay. We can see.
So basically, actually, before I start, because this is right in my mind, is Southern Nationals gone?
No, Southern Nationals doesn't exist anymore.
Why?
Oh, it's not. It's no more. It doesn't. They have a different race now, but it's not a part of this. They ain't even having it this year.
Okay. Well, so quite a bit of races this year. All the big races to probably go to. And while we was having our little spiel about all this stuff, I was thinking, because there's Elliot Boots, there's David Ronnefolk. Boots is probably going to Silver State.
He's not. He's not going to Silver State. I already asked him.
Okay, so Ronnefolk is going to Silver State. He is going to PNB.
Mm-hmm.
He might go to AMS. Okay?
Mm-hmm. So and he's definitely going to the Worlds.
He's definitely going to Worlds. But I don't think we should include it. It should be a whole separate thing. Okay. If Ronnefolk does well at PNB and Silver State, he might have a shot at winning this.
No, because he's only going to get 1 drop. He's not going to be at Wicked Weekend. He's not going to be at
Raw Nats. He can't do Raw Nats.
Yeah. He can't do Raw Nats, and he's not going to. Yeah, so he can't. But
he can't.
He could be up in the top 3 or 5 after Silver State, or even be in the lead for points. But right now we have so this point system is based off of Supercross points. Top 22 score points. Currently in the lead is the Dakota Fan.
This is going to be one thing. Actually, ours is the old Supercross, okay? Because the current Supercross is winner scores 25 and only 21 get points, okay?
Okay.
So this is the old Supercross points for any Supercross fans. Just to
so it's
clarify.
Top 22.
Yeah, top 22 get points.
So let's go up. We have let's just see who we have in the lead here. We have Dakota Fan, who's got 44 points. He doesn't have a win yet. Brandon Rose that win at SIC, and he had a 6 at DNC. He's in 43. Mason Fuller with a 3rd at SIC and a 8th at DNC. He's currently in 36. Bornhorst in 4th. Ryan Lutz in 5th. Mayfield 7th. Elliot Boots and David Ronnefolk in 8th, even after missing a race. Camden Lime and Spencer Rifkin round off your top 10. And then, of course, we have this on the intermediate side as well. If you can bring that up. I know people are excited about this. We have Chuck, the Iceberg Slim Berg, who took the win in intermediate nitro buggy, followed by Cody Ingham, Ryan Daze, Mike Lopez, and Jake Stousen. Now, I know that Chuck's going. I'm pretty sure Cody's going to go and Ryan Daze go because they're Southeast guys. These guys get 3 drops out of they don't have as many races. Actually, they have all Southeast races. They have more races. So they have 8 races, but they get 3 drops. Chuck actually messaged me about these points. It's like, hey, when are you going to put these points up? So here you go, Chuck. I wish you all the best. Because you can see a top 20. This is the second round. So this is obviously changed around after PNB. And of course, we have Sportsman too, if you can bring that up as well, Max. So Sportsman, we have Ronald Kimball, Christopher Craig, and my buddy Jake Lasco messaged me after I put these points up and goes, well, I guess I have to go PNB now. He's looking to get up there in the points. And so the point of this is to show how much fun a series is to follow and be a part of. Even though this is virtual, it's using existing races that are out there. And we just kind of want to have some fun with it. And bring, like I said, just bring talking points going into this. I love that the intermediate and sportsman guys are taking this seriously to an extent. I even saw Queen and one of the guys from the Southeast post up 13th in the Southeast at the moment. So I love it. I love that people are taking it seriously in that sense. And I know people are probably asking, what about EBuggy and Truggy? And what about West Coast? And what about Europe? But that's all stuff that we can do at a later date, I think.
Yeah, it just... every time when people ask about this, like, can you do this and so on, like it just requires more time. Like
it requires time and help, right? Yeah, as well, because we need people I need people on the West Coast that know who these people are. I know who they are. We have considered like the TNR race, obviously DNC Silver State, and we was looking for a few more races to put into that. Obviously, maybe even the Nationals might have counted, but no, because not everybody goes to the Nationals. It's here to have fun. I'm looking forward to it. If I was commentating on this, I'm pretty sure I'll be talking about the NNRC points and all that type of stuff because I know the chat will be talking about it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be interesting to see where the top class finishes in Pro Buggy, where people finish, and also in intermediate. There's that go. So I'm looking forward to it. If you guys want to follow more of the NNRC Cup, it will be. It's on the No Name RC podcast Facebook and soon to be on our website coming up soon. But we will announce this. I'm hoping that we have the other website up when it might come up after. It might come out a day or so after this podcast is released. So I don't want to say it yet. Yeah, I'm looking forward to PNB, man. I can't say I'm super excited. We've had 3 races this year, 3 major races, 2 in America. 1 in Europe. We've had 3 different winners at each of these races. And I would say somewhat surprising. Not surprised, but surprising. And we know that there's guys out there that want to win. I mean, Rivkin wants to do well, obviously. Rivkin's looking for a win. Mayfield's looking for a win. Fenn's looking for revenge. Fenn's been kind of an 8 scales, kind of been on a downward spiral after winning the Nationals. Okay, he did win Wicked Weekend, but he hasn't really won a big 8 scale race since then. Mayfield looking good, wants to finish off, not happy with that, even though he won Truggy and E-Truggy at DNC, looking to do well in Buggy. Camden Lime was looking good at DNC. Will we see another surprise new winner? Will we see somebody like a Camden Lime take the win? Will we see Brandon Rose get his second big win? Will we see Mason Fuller get his first big nitro win? There's so many possibilities that are going to this. Will we see Runafalk come over, first big European to come over? Sorry, Max, he's way bigger than you, I know. But and JQ, will we see him go over there and take it to win? What about somebody like Bornhorst getting a win like at her? It's possible. Ryan Lutz. It's so much probabilities. Like all those names I just said, I think can win this. But we have to make some picks.
We do.
So now is the time that we make some picks.
Hot picks. By the way,
this is all brought to you by HotRace Tires. Nicola Messenger says he wants to do a podcast when I get back. So, HotRace hot picks. I'm going first.
Okay. You're summoning the gods.
Because I want to say Mason Fuller takes the win. But deep down in my heart, I just feel that Ronnefalk's going to win this.
All right.
I say Ronnefalk, Fuller.
Fend's not even on the podium?
Fend.
What about Mayfield, dude? He hasn't done well at this race in the past, I think.
Well, he won it in 2022.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
This is a hard pick. Hard pick.
Mm.
All right. So look, I'll give you. So my pick is Ronnefalk to take the win. Fuller, Fend. But I'll give you my top 5. I think the 5 people that can win this race can be Fuller, can be. This is my 5 people. I think that can definitely win this race. Ronnefalk, Fend, Mayfield, Fuller, Rose. All 5 of those, I think, can win this race.
Yeah, that's a good argument. And this is for Nitro Buggy for anyone.
Yes,
listening.
Nitro Buggy. When they're talking about Nitro Buggy.
Yeah. For me, I would currently, with Fuller, he was in second place in EBuggy at DNC before he retired. In Nitro Buggy, he had a very, very bad start. DNC kind of looks worse than it actually was for Fuller. Fuller's going to be good. But I would still argue that Rose is in better form than Fuller. This is why I'm not picking Fuller for the podium. And I most likely will put Rose in there somewhere. This track is, I'd say, the biggest of the race time circuit.
It's probably the biggest track in America when it's done.
Yeah. So in general, when you have big tracks, the lap time, you can't make like a minute-long lap time unless you're red one. So you have to kind of open it up. This naturally hurts the cars and the drivers who don't do well on high cooling speed circuits, which I have to say is probably one of those things that do hurt Mayfield and Techno in general. He won AMS, I know. He wasn't that bad at SIC. Just, if I remember correctly, it was the setup choice that kind of screwed him. In EBuggy, he proved that he was fast.
Absolutely.
But I'm still not going to pick Mayfield because I think even SIC was more suited to Techno and the way he drives. And AMS, much smaller, much more point and shoot. Fend was absolutely on fire at DNC. He wasn't far away. So I'm going to have to put Fend somewhere in there as well. So now we have Rose and Fend. The last driver, I think it has to be Ronnefalk. It has to be. After the performance in qualifiers at Montpellier, yes, he had a very unlucky semi being in the slower one, and he had quite an unlucky main getting caught up in a harness in the beginning. And I don't know what happened then, but didn't go to his way. DNC revived himself, was probably one of the fastest guys of weekend, considering the 2 buggy classes. The big question now, in my opinion, who is going to be the first of these 3? Rose and Fend and Ronnefalk. And I do have to say...
Hard pick. You don't have Mayfield in there?
No, I don't have Mayfield in the top 3. I will honestly have to put Fend in front of Ronnefalk.
Okay.
I know I argued before in this in this DNC preview that Ronnefalk would be his favorite, but I gotta say Fend, he impressed me at DNC. And I think when he went home,
fast. Very fast.
I think when he went home, he in his head had this realization of I could have won probably both classes if I just was a little bit smarter, a little bit smarter. So I'm going to go with Fend taking the win, Ronifel coming in a close second, and then Rose being the best of the rest.
Wow. Watch Mayfield go there and just wipe the floor.
Yeah,
clean.
I mean, I gave all these reasoning. None of those three guys are probably going to be on the podium after this. Do we do Truggy? I don't think we care. Let's do EBuggy, okay?
Okay.
We are
Mason Fuller takes the win.
Okay. But I want to say this. We collectively think Truggy is a bashing class, okay?
No. I do not think it's a bashing class. I do not think it's a bashing
class.
The
NNRC podcast
collectively... You think it's a bashing class. Let's get that right. You think it's a bashing class. I do not. I like
We
Truggy.
only do picks for buggy classes. Because, you know, trucks, you know what trucks do on the road? They are working vehicles, okay? They're not meant to be raced unless you're a freaking NASCAR fan. And yeah, trucks, not for racing. Buggies, they are for racing, okay? For some reason, Americans fucking love trucks and everything. They race trucks.
Trucks are awesome. Trucks are awesome.
They race.
You know what? And you know what I was told to, you know what I was told to tell you by a European? Truggy is becoming popular in Europe, especially e-Truggy. So you just accept it. Son.
Yeah, I know. But yeah. It's horrible. It's kind of like, you know, you'd be racing like any touring car or GT car class in full scale would become like SUV racing. Or you know that Ford did that the fastest van in the world. Ford van, I can't remember what it was called. It was like Trans Van or something silly, the name. But they basically made a van into a supercar and used it at Pikes Peak. This is what I feel Truggy is.
Well, I watched some Australians racing short course trucks on ONROAD with big jumps, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
You know what? We'll let the viewers pick EBuggy and Truggy. And Nitro Buggy, if you're listening to this...
No, we pick only IFMAR classes from now on, okay? So we have to pick EBuggy.
But it's not official. Okay, EBuggy. I'm going with Mason Fuller.
Yeah.
Ryan Mayfield. You know what? No. Ryan Mayfield, Mason Fuller, Ronifel.
I think Ronifel could be fast in qualifiers, but crashed, and because it's only 10 minutes, he won't have time to settle in. Fend has been pretty good in EBuggy, but I think Mayfield has had the stronghold on him. So I'm gonna
the way he drove at SIC in that EBuggy, man, oof.
I'm gonna go Mayfield, Fuller, and Fend.
Okay,
that's my pick.
All right, so you typed these out, right?
Yeah, they are here. They're saved for the future.
Saved for reference. All right. Okay, so that's fair enough. I would go with that. Let us know in the comments what you all think. If this is if your picks, if you're listening to this on YouTube, if you're listening to this on the audio only, come over. Don't forget to hit that like, sub, and notification button while you're there. And yeah, I think it's gonna be awesome times this weekend at PNB, to be honest. And I look forward to seeing your writing up, your coverage. I'm looking forward to the coverage by Live RC. I'm looking forward to what Danny's doing with you in conjunction. And yeah, just the overall race. And good luck to everybody out there, especially in the pro class. And good luck to all the intermediate drivers and sportsman drivers that are going. Remember, the NNRC Cup points are there. And I wish you guys all the best. Max, I think that's it. But before we go, we're going to do one new segment that I have. Because I saw so many triggered comments and people still kind of got it wrong, but that's going to be done in the JQ Racing rant. As soon as I find it, we're going to talk about it. Let's go.
We are now at that point of the show where you should fasten those seatbelts and put your big boy pants on. Whoa. Things are about to get serious. It's time for the JQ Racing rant.
All right, so your girlfriend was absolutely right. We were not going to be done in an hour and a half. We're
Yeah.
almost on 3 hours. This is going to be quick. We're not going to delve into this too much, but I came up with this brainchild after I saw a bunch of comments of after the Worlds. People were just triggered, right? Now, talking about a guy who got super triggered at JQ on episode 277. If you haven't seen that, you should go check it out. People love the rant. By the way, JQ thinks he won that rant, and everybody else thinks I won it. He did have good points, though. Very good points. So I'm not going to say the name of this. It was a comment on one of my posts, but I read it to you, and it was so funny. I even read it to my UK friends, and they burst out laughing. So I'm going to read it because this actually has some good points, but it's also just like funny and just silly at the same time. So someone should just hold a race in Vegas or somewhere else like it in the world with convention centers and call it the World Championships on the same day and see what happens. Everyone is sick of federations, as you call them. The only people who care are Europeans whose grandpas were on the losing side of World War II, betas, limp-wristed Brits, or permanent seaman drivers. So when I read that limp-wristed Brits part to 3 British guys, they cracked up laughing. He goes on to say, and about a series, people don't even care about local point series anymore. They participate in, let alone watch it. Just hype around the next big race. No one except the participants and promoters will even have the attention span for it. The world is turning into a new culture, and unfortunately, the leaders, promoters, and media of this industry are not really catching on to that or think the wool is still over our eyes. So, this was the most triggered. The first part of this rant was just like, I burst out laughing when I saw this. I thought it was so funny. He's not wrong.
Man's with beast not there. I think it was weird reading this because I like every other point or sentence or whatever. I was like, yeah, this guy's right. But then the next was like, oh, this guy's an idiot. Like I would go, like reading that, I'd go, yeah, that's not the solution, but that is the problem. Or then this is the solution, but that's not really the problem. Or whatever it is, So it's like, I'm almost there with him, but I love the enthusiasm. I think this is what we need more.
That was a triggered rant. I think it's almost as bad as you do in IC and EP. So it's funny when I made that post, people were just saying different things. It was funny. I love that. I love that type of engagement. It's awesome. But that was epic. That was an epic triggered post right there. I just love the limp-wristed Brits part. That was funny. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how to feel about. He does bring up some valid points in that triggered comment. Let us know what you guys think about it. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was funny, and it's good to see people that can take a joke, right? Even though I don't know if he was joking, but the people he was talking about laughed at it. Maybe we do need to look at doing some things that we do. Definitely, obviously, we need to do things differently. I still think a series is valuable. I can tell you right now that the Florida RC Championship, people actually care. Like people are calculating points and all that type of stuff.
I think he got that very wrong because even now in Finland, I did a questionnaire and there's a specific question about this. And people absolutely care about the series. And yeah, it's like there are people who only run a race, but those are usually people who do RC very little, So yeah, I think that's definitely.
Well, look in Europe. Look in Europe. Almost every single federation in country Europe has a national series.
Yeah.
3 to 5 races.
Yeah.
So
yeah, some even have more, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I think.
I don't know. I don't know. I can't get over the first part of that triggered comment. Like that just gets me. And then after that, I can't take him seriously after that.
Yeah. I don't know. He makes good points, but it's like he's almost there in my opinion. But
I don't know.
I do think if you take like the gist of that comment, we have to adjust to the times. There's so many people within the industry who's like, well, we tried that 10 years ago, or like most are like, yeah, we tried that in 2005 and it didn't work. Well, have you thought why it didn't work? And have you thought, has there something to do with it that he's tried in 2005? Like maybe, it wasn't the time for it then. All this, like, when you hear these arguments, it's always like, these, like, yeah.
And also, just a real quick, we see RCGP posting some pictures. Isherwood sent it to me, and it was good to see. RCGP was awesome. Just looking at those pictures, what he's doing from back in the day, was great. And I'm going to say this before we leave. RCGP was 15 years too early for the industry. The industry wasn't ready for RCGP.
Probably at least like 10.
At least 10.
Yeah, because like, okay, think of it this way. It took 5 years from RCGP for a race organizer to discover, a large-scale race organizer to discover something else than a purely open practice.
No, I mean, not even that. Just you can see where RCGP has influenced coverage of races and the way racers.
Yeah, and even like
the racers.
That has changed also. Like coverage, and realistically, I think RCGP wasn't the change. RCGP was mostly what it did. Did I freeze?
Yeah, you're good. You just like your mouth is open. Just continue talking.
What's happened with my
I don't know. Just let's wrap it up. We're almost on 3 hours.
Yeah, but I think RCGP wasn't that it made the change, but RCGP showed what could be done, which put people to move to make the change. Because there's like at least 5 streaming companies in America, which is exactly what you need. You don't need Live RC to fucking fly around America.
And in Europe, everybody's doing it too.
Yeah, so I think...
And not only that, here's another point. Racers now understand that they have to come do interviews and stuff like that. Remember at RCGP how people just couldn't get media day?
Yeah.
So,
we had specific media day where RCGP had contracted these race teams that, hey, you come do this media day and we'll do adverts for you for free. And in return, you're just there so we can do our thing too. And there was fucking S-Works, HP, and us, me and JQ, who was there. Nobody else ever showed up. It's fucking silly.
I know.
Fuck,
it was
I hated
silly.
that.
You know
it was
what?
so annoying because we had planned everything with them.
I know.
And then no one fucking showed up.
And how they did it in the second year was like, hey, you're going to practice on that day. And then they came.
Yeah. Fuck, that was...
So I would say that the drivers have understand now that interviews and I think the companies are allowing them to be themselves a little more as well. They're not. I think that comes from probably shows like this podcast, and I think from RCGP just letting them be themselves. So awesome. But I talked to Isherwood, and he says RCGP is not dead yet, and I swear I don't go a week without somebody asking about RCGP. Max, with all that said, I'm gonna say to everybody, hey, safe travels to PNB this weekend. Everybody be safe, have fun. I look forward to all the action on the track. I'm sure there's going to be some action off the track. I do wish I was there with you, but I also am very happy to be here in Portugal, enjoying my time here in Portugal and going to a different track and seeing something different and being a part of this EBuggy World Cup that's going to lead to the EBuggy World Championship. Shout out to all my IFMAR people out there. I know you guys wanted the Worlds. I'm sorry that you didn't get it. You'll get another chance. I know the next thing is gonna be like, well, why don't we change the rules so we get another chance? Well, I'm sorry, I just don't see that happening either. And yeah, I don't know. It's time to make some serious changes in EFRA as well. We talk about it being the best federation, but I think there's time for, it's time to start. It might be time to turn the heat up on EFRA here, Max. I don't know, So we'll see. We kind of backed off them. But I think there's people in Afro that want to do the right things, and there's still a big grip on the old school in Afro, and that's got to be relinquished at some point. So I think we're going to end the podcast on that. I want to say thank you to everybody that supports us around the world. Thank you to all the NNRC squad. We greatly appreciate it. We want to thank all of the YouTube and NNRC patrons. Remember, that's going to be RCTMZ right there. When we got hot news, we're going to put it there so you guys get it first. And also, remember, you can do that by going to the written description of this podcast, following the links. Also, for all these companies, we have affiliate links and all that good stuff as well. Coupon codes, you can save some money. They are Invisible Speed, High Tech RC, Corsatec USA, Sidewinder Fuel, Mayako, Beach RC, Techno RC, Clinic RC, Stacked RC, RaceCraft USA, RC Box Club, Call RC, Elite RC Productions, Florida RC Championships, RC Body Armor, SJ Racing Builds. Go check out SJ Racing Builds. He's going to be at PNB. He's got a stall set up right next to the J Concepts pit. He's going to be doing tire washing, tire gluing, diff oil changing, shock oil changing, battery charging, all that good stuff. Go help out my boy Gene Sharp Jr. Shout out to House of RC, RCGP. Good luck to our drivers, David Runnerfolk and Mason Follett this race. And shout out to our drivers, Robert Badier, Alexander HagBerg, Maddie G, Pecco, and Yuna. And Max, thank you for your time. And tell your girlfriend thank you for her time as well. Yeah. And she was right. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
With that said,
I told her Keenan said we're gonna do an hour 30, and she was like, "Yeah, no, I don't believe."
double that.
Yeah.
Never. You know, Nitro's the glory. EBuggy pays the bill. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. If you ain't grinding, you're sliding. Max and Lefty, we are out. Goodbye, everybody. Ta-ta for now.